Oh, hello, hello, hello. Oh, that got moved. Okay. We're back. It's been a long time, it feels like, but we'll be back on Monday, of course, after today. But, man, a week is a long time. Especially when I'm just loving this game so much. Oh, man. Okay. Hello, hello. Thank you so much for joining. We left off in the first intervallo between 7 and 8. And I've been having fun with the health checkup of all the sinners. This has been a fun intervallo. So, without further ado, let's get back into it. And of course, we're going to start with a chapter of just a bunch of talking for me. Well, now that that's over and done with, I would like the sinners to come gather around here. Hohenheim placed the sinners in a single file before him and began. Now, the regular checkup is complete. We finally have enough data to compare your pre-employment statuses to those of your current selves. How much have our guys grown? Which means, indeed, we were able to measure your pre-employment combat capabilities as well. Oh, and what are your conclusions? Allow me to preface this by saying that there isn't much significance in establishing this particular hierarchy of power on a linear scale. Like I said, you are all equally mediocre at the present anyway, and... Oh, there's plenty of significance, all right. We've all got to know who's the big boss. Right, I forgot. Who's the leader? Well, this is but a speculation of the worst-case scenario. We must know which one of us has the most right and authority to lead the rest of the sinners in case our executive manager becomes, due to some unknown yet inexorable circumstances, unavailable. Think game audio is off? Thank you. It looks like yes. If I do this... Okay, I think Streamlabs has done some stuff. Okay, there we go. Wait, that might still be a little too loud. I'll lower it just a smidge more, just so that I can see if I can be heard over it. And I need to pull that up so I can see both. Okay, there we go. Streamlabs, you gotta make things a little tricky for me, don't you? Hey, that's... I don't listen to anyone weaker than I am. What if there was a reason I was the first one asked to introduce himself? There was a burgeoning interest among the sinners to see which one of them would be at the apex of the scale, were they to be measured by their strengths prior to their employment. Hey, maybe before I lost my memories, even I... Dante, don't. It is interesting how every collective has a desire to get the clear picture of the pecking order. A negative expression of this desire may even lead to juvenile behaviors among children. For example, stealing their colleagues' lunches for meager reasons such as scoring higher than they did on a test. You're not speaking from personal experience, are you? Thus, I believe that trying to conceal the outcome of the tests from you would be quite meaningless. Each of your placements in that line you are standing in signifies that very order you are so curious to know. I do not wish to waste any more breath on this subject. There was a long, long silence. Then, the sinners all simultaneously turned to look at the person standing in the frontmost position of the line. This has to be the longest, most awkward, most loaded silence I've ever felt in my life. It's my boy! Much did I wish to hold shrouded in my fathoms, yet I learned still to convey that we are all more than meets the eye. Yet there remains a certain abundance within my heart. Perhaps the test of this day paint a picture of both of my qualities. Thus spoke I, Yi sang. Yi-sang? I will place trust in the faith that all of you shall one day sprout wings as I have. Wait, don't tell me it's actually not him. Yi-sang. It's the other way around. No! Oh, my poor boy.
Yes.
The line was made from my point of view. From here, the center wielding that oversized lance is the one at the front of this line. Of course. Aww. Well, you said some cool words, though. We got this, right? Yi-sang? Well, 'tis quite the bashful occasion. To be the center of such fervent attention of one such company. I want to say fervent is the right word. Worried, maybe? Oh, it's raining. I shall be vigilant. No one seemed to have any objections or doubts about who the strongest sinner was, given the earlier event. On second thought, it appears that it would be best if we left the command to Ishmael, as we have done so far. Wow, that's very big of you, Otis. Otis mumbled through gritted teeth. Forsooth, I am in agreement. I am more partial to roles as a defending fixer or a squire. 'Tis oft the case that such side characters enjoyed greater popularity since time immemorial. Very happy to see this discussion not coming to blows. Now, are we all ready to move on from this? Wait a minute. Aren't we all forgetting something pretty important? That's just how the world works, Greg. No one remembers anyone between the first place and the last place. I even forgot my own placement in the order. No, I mean... Fellas, I wasn't even a part of the list. Wait, what? Huh? Were you not? Who cares, mate? There's 12 of us. Some people just fall out of the radar. Big deal. Let's just get on with it. Hey! You can't just disregard me like swatting away a fly. Truly the outcast. No, Gregor. I guess somewhere around my level, probably. Or Heathcliff's. Ishmael replied in a voice that had clearly lost all interest in this discussion. You're the center with that bizarre insectoid arm. We had no choice but to place you in the least favorite category of all researchers. Exceptions. Aww. Hey, you really hate that, huh? In other words, you are a case that cannot well be placed in a list or a scale. To do so would be irresponsible. I'd say you carry a certain potential. That potential, is it? Does that mean I could also be first place if all goes well? It could very well be the reverse, given the definition of potential. Let not this query harrow your mind, Gregor. Your day will come. Feels funny getting consoled by the guy who placed last. Aw, he sang placed last. That makes you sad. And then Gregor didn't even place, technically. After some time passed, next, we must discuss the classification numbers. We have been assigning risk levels for distortions, just as we have for abnormalities. The observation logs you have written for us were of great help, of course.
몇몇 수감자들은 낙필이 꽤 심해서
My researchers
내
struggled
연구원들이
to
고생을 좀 했지만
parse the handwriting of certain sinners, however, but it was good data all the same.
글자 하나를 두고
We once had a
저희끼리
3-hour
3시간
debate over a
정도
letter.
토론한 적도 있었습니다.
Who? Heath's letter?
금방
Even that bloody
가정교사도
governess gave him a trying to
친구를
fix my
포기했다고.
handwriting. Yep. Heathcliff grinned proudly and wiped the side of his nose.
알다시피 지금 1년 번호를 붙이는
As you must all
방식에는
be aware,
상당한
well
허점이
aware,
있다네.
the current system of classification numbers has a rather significant oversight.
환상체는 구엘사의 창조물들이
Because abnormalities were
그에 대한
creations of the
분류체계
former
역시
Elk Corp, our
구엘사에서
classification
취급하던
system
방법을
had to
써올
be
수밖에
lifted
없었지.
whole from their system.
하지만 구엘사가
However,
믿었던
the
1년
criteria
번호에서
by which
위험
the
등급이
former Elk
가지는
Corp measured
의미는
the risk levels was the
에너지
amount of their
생산량이라네.
energy production.
환상체의
As a
호전성과 탈출,
correlation of sorts,
피해의
it was
규모가
often the
클수록
case that the more
에너지
aggressive
생산량도
abnormalities
높았기
produced
때문에
more energy,
그걸 기준으로
but their
측정했고
destructive capabilities were
종합적인
not a
전투력은
part of the
측정
criteria
기준이 아니었지.
despite the correlation.
그래서 고등급 직원들이
That is why
확실하게
certain
사망할 수 있는
abnormalities
높은
were assigned
살상력을 가진
relatively lower risk
환상체임에도
levels despite their
낮은
potential to
등급인
kill
경우가 있었던
even
것이.
multiple higher-ranking employees.
어디까지나 에너지 회사였으니까요.
They were an energy company at the
기준이
end of the
에너지가
day.
되는 건
Makes sense that their
당연할 수밖에
priority would be to
없었겠죠.
measure the energy output.
하지만 이곳에서는
However,
환상체와
here,
뒤틀림을 전부
both
전투로
abnormalities
제압해야지.
and distortions must be
그래서
suppressed via
구엘사에서
direct
매겼던 위험
confrontation.
등급의 기준과는
Thus,
다소
the
맞지
former Elk
않는다네.
Corp's classification system is rather incongruent with our purposes.
누가 그랬는데
I once heard someone say that we should be
그만큼
wary of people who
조심해야
drone on in the intro.
그래서 적어도
Thus,
뒤틀림의
it
위험
became
등급과
necessary
1년
for us to
번호를
reorganize
다시 편성해야 할 필요가
the
있다.
distortions risk levels and classification codes.
아, 그렇군요.
Wow, how
그래서
interesting.
그걸 누가
So
하는
whose job
건가요?
is that going to be?
당연한 질문을 너무도
I'm rather taken aback
순진무구하게
by the
물어보니
naivete with which you ask me that question. Us.
거부권이
It's
없는
us.
우리가 하는 거겠죠.
Sinners without the right to refuse, was it?
이거 가만
Wait a
보니까
sec. Aren't you
본인이
just
연구를
offloading your own
핑계로
work
우리한테
onto
떠넘기는
us?
거 아니야?
연구자들의
A
특권이죠.
privilege given to researchers.
야야,
Oi, oi!
그건 뭘
Don't be so
모르는
ignorant,
놈들이
yeah?
하는 말이고. 뭐냐?
This is all just to,
뒤틀림을 잘
uh,
연구하기 위해
in order to research the
뒤틀림을
distortions,
해결.
right? We gotta
뒤바뀌었네 조수.
the other way around, assistant.
뒤틀림을
We've got to do
더
research
잘
into
해결하기
distortions
위해
in order to solve them
뒤틀림을
better.
연구해야
It's
한다는
elementary
거야.
shite.
뭐 그런 거야.
아주 단단히
Ornheim's really
휘어잡혔네요.
got you wrapped around his finger. You know that.
LCD 현장 추리 팀장의 연구 결과에 따르면 뒤틀림이라는 건 병의
Classified it as
진행과 유사하여
undeniable.
초기, 중기, 말기로 나눌 수가 있네.
According to LCD, on-site investigative reasoning team leader, the progression of a distortion is much like that of a disease.
결국 뒤틀림이라는
The
현상의
fate of an
끝은 환상체이기
abnormality awaits
때문이지.
at the end of the distortion phenomenon, after all.
환상체가 된다는
When a
건
distortion progresses into an
개체성은 사라지고
abnormality, all
환상체로서의
pre-existing
정체성만을 가지게
individuality is
되네.
erased, replaced with the totality of an abnormality.
따라서
Okay.
환상체가 되어버리는 순간 이전의
Thus,
상태로 되돌릴 수는
thus
없습니다.
is it impossible to bring
뒤틀림이었을
back
때
the
가역성을
distortion
가지는
has already
것과는
transformed
다르죠.
into an wait, oh, I thought she was phrasing it as a question. Has already transformed into an abnormality. It will no longer have that reversibility that they once had in the distortion phase.
그 말은
So a distortion like that
시간
time
살인마
ripper
같은
fellow will
녀석들도
eventually
가만히
become an
놔두면
abnormality too
환상체로
if left
변한다는 건가?
untouched.
해유PI
If you are
200을
referring
제일
to the
말하는
subject
거라면 그렇다고 말할 수
HE6PI2001, then yes.
물론 어디까지나
This
예측에
is simply
불과하다네.
a prediction, of
이곳에
course.
없는 뒤틀림은
Because that particular
환상체가
subject
될
isn't
것이라
contained
확인할
here,
수는
I
없지.
cannot say with absolute certainty that its progression into an abnormality will be observed.
옳은
음.
의견이다.
A correct assessment.
어라?
Oh?
림버스
Didn't
컴퍼니에서
Limbus
데려간
Company
게
collect the Time
아니었나요?
Ripper?
그러고 싶었네만
We hoped we would, but
기사에서
T-Corp
강력하게
was very
권리를
adamant
주장했어.
about their claim
제대로
over the
협상도
entity,
못했지.
to the point where they refused to
나도
even
시간을
sit at the
가져간다는
negotiation
개념에 흥미가
table.
있었지만
I found their time ripping ability quite
아쉬워도
fascinating.
어쩌겠나.
Sometimes I must know when to cut my losses, I suppose. I can see T-Corp wanting a tight grip on that, actually. So it
잠깐.
makes sense.
그러고 보니 그 해로 시작하는
so that
게 새로운
HE
일련 번호인가요?
something is the new classification code format?
그렇다네.
Indeed.
뒤틀림에게 있어
Because it is difficult to
규현과
identify and
형태는
observe the origin and the
불안정하고
shape of the
불확실하며
distortion,
관측
we
또한
decided
어려우니
to forego that
정보를
information and instead
제외하고
replace them with their
그것의
sin
죄악의 속성과
affinities and
피해
the
예측
expected
수치를
damage
기입했지.
scale.
죄악의 속성은
Sin affinities. PI must
PI라면
refer to Pigrita,
나태로군요.
sloth. Or is it Pigretia?
분류는
It
죄종을
appears
참고한 것
that the
같구려.
classification now mimics the classification of the Picatula.
엄밀히 말하자면
They do indeed follow the same
같은
thought
갈래로는
process, if we're being technical here.
죄종을
I
참고했다는
want to say it
말보다는
mimics it. It
죄종
would be more
자체가
accurate to say
뒤틀림의
that, as
원료면서
the Picatula
부산물이니
are
그
at
속성
once
또한
the
따랐다고
origins
볼
of
수
the
있겠군.
distortion phenomenon and its byproducts. The affinities can be transferred one to one.
피해 예측 수치는
What's the
뭐지?
expected damage scale? Combat
전투력
capability, I'm
같기도
guessing.
하네요.
I remember them
환상적
saying
임금은
that the risk
엔케팔린의
levels were determined based on the
추출량을
enkephalin
직접
production
싸워야 하는
rates,
저희에겐
which is
맞지
not the
않다고
most meaningful
했으니까요.
information to us who have to fight them directly.
전투력이라는 개념을 수치화해서
It is a
일련번으로
tad
하기는
inconvenient to
애매했네.
put a nebulous idea like
개성에
combat
따라 그
capabilities
넘나지가
into a
무의미해질 수도 있으니.
singular numerical scale of power. Certain entities have idiosyncrasies and variables that may make such a linear measure quite meaningless.
그래서 림버스
So
컴퍼니
instead,
인원이
we
전투에
decided to
돌입했을
measure
때
the expected amount of
겪게
damage
될
that the
피해
Limbus
예상
company personnel
최대치를
might
계산해서
suffer
넣었지.
should they engage these entities in battle.
시간 살인마는
While this
수감자들의 특수성
time
덕에
ripper
큰
poses
위협이
very
되지
little threat
못했느냐.
against the sinners due to
LCC
your
부서에서 파견된
idiosyncrasies,
이들에게는
the unique nature of their
사실상
weapon
직사에 가까운 피해를
means
줄
they
수
can
있다네.
immediately deal a nigh fatal blow to anyone from the LCC department with a single strike.
그렇기에
That
1에서
is why
10이라는
this
수치 중
distortion
6이라는
was
높은
given a
값이
rather high
배정됐지.
expected damage scale of
물론
6 from a
뒤틀림마다의
scale of 1
특수성이
to 10.
존재하는 한 이
Please
또한
do
완벽할
note that
수는
this is
없다네.
not a perfect system, and these
어디까지나
values are
참고만
there
하라고
only as
넣어둔 수치인 점을
references.
잊지 말게나.
뒤틀림이 아닌
Will this
환상
standard be
체계도
applied to
적용되는 것이요.
abnormalities as well?
그럴 예정이라네.
We have plans to do
일련
so,
번호
yes. Risk
등급과
levels and
피해
expected
예측
damage
수치를
scales
함께
will be coming
표기하기로
before their
했지.
classification codes.
아,
Speaking
말이
of
나온
which,
김에
I have something to
그걸
show
보러
you
가면
all.
되겠군.
Cool.
그거요?
What is it?
모노리스를 말하는 것이
What else other than the monolith?
림버스 컴퍼니가
One
다루는
with the
사업 중
highest potential
기대
values
가치가
among
높은 것
Limbus
중
company's
하나지.
businesses.
그런 의미에서
Thus, the
모노리스
development of
운송법의
transportation,
개발과 관리 및
management, and
공정이
processing
규칙하는
methodologies of the
참으로
monolith
대단한
is a glowing
성과였네.
achievement indeed.
위험한 물건이요.
The artifact, by its very
저것을
nature,
이용하는
poses a
것이
great danger.
맞는 일일지.
I hesitate to embrace its use so willingly.
모든 것은 위험이라는
Great danger? But
위험하지
wouldn't you
않는
say that
것은
we are
존재하지
beset by
않지.
danger at all times?
위험을 정하는 것은
The arbitrariness
언제나
in
그
deciding
정도에서
how
온다네.
dangerous something is comes from the degree to which it poses a risk.
알다시피 여기 있는
As you must
모노리스는
already know,
강제로
the monolith
뒤틀림을
here is a
유발하는
device that can
장치지.
force a distortion.
황금가지처럼
It is
도시
scattered
곳곳에
throughout the
퍼져
city,
있지만
just like the Golden Bough,
모노리스는
at first
뒷골목의
only in possession of the
손가락,
fingers and
조직부터
syndicates
시작해서
of the backstreets, to now
지금은
being
크고 작은
collected by
여러
companies both
회사에까지
large and small and
질병처럼
nameless,
퍼지고 있다네.
like a plague.
더 나아가 몇몇 날개에서는 주요 사안으로도
Wait.
검토 중이라고 하더군요.
다행히도 우리는
Shit.
그들보다 빠르게
No
모노리스를 회수
No
조금만 느렸어도 날개와 이권 다툼을
아.
해야 했을지도 모르니 다행이지 않나.
Scattered throughout the city just like the Golden Bough. Are they possibly related if they're all scattered? We also learned that they have become rather high priority targets for some wings out there. As luck would have it, we managed to bring our research expedition and collection of the monoliths begin our research monoliths much earlier than the others. Now, we are already at the stage in which we may partake in the processing and the sales of these artifacts, expanding our business ventures. I see. You could say that we narrowly avoided the very unsavory fate of having to tussle with the wings for the possession of these artifacts.
그랬다면 나나 자네들이나
Because we may have had to
정말로
confront the
날개와
wings
싸워야 했을 수도
directly
있을
were
테니.
that the case.
궁금한 게 있는데요.
Asking out of pure curiosity here, what would happen if we were ever assigned a
도시의
city
재해로
threat level?
지정된다면 어떻게 될까요?
이스
Is she?
불안하게
How about
그런
we
건
don't
왜
ask
물어보고
questions we
그래?
don't ever want to find out the answers to?
아니,
I mean,
각자의
what
계약
if
때문에
we,
협회와
due to some
척지는 상황이 생길 수도
contractual
있는 거고.
shenanigans, end up going against the
그럴 때
associations?
저희 수준이
I think it'd
어느
be a good
정도인지
thing to
아는
know
건
ahead
꽤
of time, just in
중요하다고요.
case.
알아서 나쁠 건 없을 것
Seems
같고.
like a question worth entertaining to me.
뜬 소문부터 도시의
Let's
별
see.
중에서
From Canard to Star the
도시
City,
질병에서
I
도시
suppose your
악몽
assignment will be
배정받을
somewhere
것이.
between urban plague and urban nightmare.
도 표를
Not
만드는 건가?
Star the City yet, are we?
제 등급이 붙길 바라는
It almost
것만
sounds as
같고
if you want to be given a threat level.
부활과 인격 기술의
It is true
잠재력과
that you,
위험성이 크고
upon first sight, due to
초기에는 꽤
your revival
위협적이라는 건
powers and the
사실일세.
potential of the identity
하지만
technology, may appear to
명확한
pose a rather
약점이 있지 않나.
troublesome risk. However, if you have a very clear and obvious weakness. Me!
관리자가 사망할 경우 그 모든
Dante's the
손해를
weakness, yeah. Indeed, all of our advantages will be moot upon the manager's death. Hohenheim slowly turns around to look at me, prompting Faust and the other sinners to follow suit.
저희가 지키면
What if we protected them,
건가요?
though?
자네들이 조우했던
I
적을
am impressed by
떠올리고도
your optimism,
그런
given the
이야기를 할
kinds
수
of
있다는 건
enemies you have
놀랍고
faced thus far.
자네들의 업무
We don't
보고에
even need to
있었던
go so far back in time to discuss the incidents with the fixer Siegfried or Big Brother Ricardo I read from your reports.
당장
Should the
자네들 곁에
third
있는
sinner
3번
suddenly
수감자가
seek to attack
전력으로
the manager
관리자만을
with her full
노린다면
might, do you
자네들로
truly
지킬 수 있을
believe
것
that the rest
같은가?
of you will be enough to protect them?
그럴
No.
리가.
The flow of this world is that the
자네들은
manager will be preserved,
그러지 않을
that no such thing may
관리자가
come to
보존되는
pass.
흐름의 세계.
Because we have plot armor?
거기까지만 말하시죠, 호에나임.
That's enough, Hohenheim.
그 이상 말하면
Any further divulgence
Faust는
in Faust
당신에게
will
줄
open the
징계에 대해
disciplinary
논의할
committee to
것입니다.
discuss the consequences of your careless words.
아직도인가?
Not there yet, are we? Very well. Whichever is the
아무튼
case, you
자네들도
do have the potential to
언젠가
become a
도시의
star of the
별까지
city
닿을
threat
만큼의
at some
잠재성이
time in the
있다니.
future.
최선은
Do remember
제
that it would be
등급이 붙지
best if you
않는
could
것이겠지만
avoid that
말이지.
unfortunate designation.
물론 모든
And
것은
please,
림버스
don't
컴퍼니가
forget that that
자네들을
is only
지원해주고
true
있을 때의
so long as you
이야기라는
have
것도
Limbus
기억해두면
Company's
좋겠군.
backing. That was a lot of exposition. Most of it is just about the distortions, but okay. Interesting. So we have a potential to become the biggest threat to the city. Suppress the dungeon boss. It's dungeon time. I didn't know there was a dungeon. I think I was told there was a dungeon, but I forgot. Bonus. Yeah, these two are the only ones giving me bonus currency now. No.
이번에 읽어줄 동화책은 이것으로.
이제 검진도
So
마지막
how big of
단계를
a
향해
dungeon
가고
is
있군.
this? We are almost done with the regular checkup.
지금까지 알려준 정보를 토대로
Finally, we have a chance for you to
장애물을
overcome an adversity based on what you have learned thus far,
나의 가설을 증명할
and for
기회이기도
me
하지.
to prove my hypothesis. What hypothesis is he talking about?
걱정은 하지 말게.
No need to worry.
내 가설은
My
틀린 적이
hypotheses have
없으니.
never been wrong,
대체로
most of the time.
이번 실험은
This
철저하게
experiment is
내가
entirely of my
설계하며
own design and
내가 주관하는
supervision,
것이지. 오로지 연구자의
and I will
호기심과
faithfully
본인이
follow
시키는
my
대로
own
말이야.
pure curiosities and instincts as a researcher.
이 사람
Guys, I have a
불길한
feeling we're
소리를
not gonna
거침없이
like where this
뱉고 있어.
goes.
여기
It's the monolith.
모노리스가 보이지?
Now, do you see this monolith here?
보여요.
Yup, I
아주
do.
잘 보이는데
Yeah, it's a monolith, alright, but
아, 안심하게.
don't you
가동은
worry. My
연구원들이
researchers
해줄게.
will be the ones to activate the artifact. Activate the artifact?
가동시키겠다고?
자네에게 하진
Not
않을
on
거니까 안심하고.
you. Relax.
이 실험에 지원자가
I
있지 않을
understand that
거라는
none
건
of you
알고
would
있네.
be willing participants to this experiment.
설마
I swear.
이
If you're going to
시험에서마저도
force us to distort,
거부권이
saying that we have no
없다는
right to
이해하면서
refuse or something, I'm
저희 중
gonna.
하나를 뒤틀리게 만들 생각이라면
잠깐.
Yeah, hang on.
그건 아무리
I can't let you do
촌스럽어도
that,
용납이
even as
되지
your
않는 소린데.
assistant.
그래.
Yes.
굳이 보내야겠다면
Yeah,
제일
yes,
나약한
but if
수감자를.
you must, we are willing to send the weakest the weakest sinner among. Otis, don't you fucking dare! Forget I said that. That was
제가
foolish of me to
실언을
say. You bet.
내 스스로가
She's gonna throw
실험체가 될
Ethan
것이야.
under the bus. I'll be the subject of the experiment myself.
지금 스스로
You're going to distort
본인을
yourself.
뒤틀리게 만들겠다는
Am I
소리를
hearing
하고
you
있는
right?
건가?
궁금하지 않나?
Aren't you curious to
자신이
see
어떤
what kind of
뒤틀림이
distortion
되는지
you'd end up
한 번쯤
becoming?
상상해 본
I'm
적이
sure this is
있을
a question
거라는가?
you have all entertained at least. But we know what Heathcliff will distort to.
아니,
No, I ain't curious.
궁금하지도 않고
It ain't a very pleasant
재미도
experience
없어.
either.
너무 그렇게
Stop
부득거리며 말하지
gritting your
말게나.
teeth like that,
조수.
assistant. It
치아로
will have an
상하는
adverse
습관이니.
effect on your long-term dental health.
만일
What if you just
그러다가
end up turning into a
최종이 되면요?
peccatulum?
방금까지 저희가
You could end up
테스트를
becoming a
위해서
peccatulum,
열심히
just
물리쳐
another one
나갔던
of the
괴종이
fodder
될
we
수도 있는
slaughtered our
길을
way through for the tests
스스로
earlier.
걸어간다고요?
You're risking that.
확실히 그렇게 될 수도 있겠지.
It is indeed a possibility.
그럼 나는 딱
It would
거기까지였던
signify
거야.
nothing more than my very own limitations.
이도 저도 아닌.
Just a mediocre
껍데기
shell.
수준. 그러면 여기 있는
If such
직원들이
an
나를
incident comes to
격리실로
pass, these
옮겨주겠지.
employees will
어떤
transport me
죄종이
to a
될지
containment
내기도 했다네.
unit. We even made a bet on what kind of peccatulum I would turn into.
팀장님은 탐식에
He bet on
저는
Goulet,
질투에,
I on
이쪽은
Avidier,
나한테
and her
해보죠.
on Pigrichier.
하지만 아무리
How
그래도
could you?
어떻게
단순하게 생각해 본다면
Think about it
말이지.
like this. If
내가
I were to
죄종이
become
된 것은
Peccatula,
쉽게
it would be
말해.
akin to losing at a
꽝에
game of
걸린 거라고
chance.
보면 된다래.
Ah, thank you. Welcome, welcome.
물론 꽝이라는 건 단지 그 시점에 내가
Of
어떤지에
course,
따라
what counts
정해질
as a
뿐이지만
loss may depend on what
그저
I, at the
죄종이
precise
되었다는
time, consider to be
사실만으로도
losing. But the mere fact of turning into a Peccatulum
내 삶의 가치는
relieves
없다고
me of
본다네.
any value to life. I'd say he was being too hard on himself, but that felt like too simple an expression to describe his tone.
회사는 죄종이 된 나를 격리실로 옮기고 싶어 할 테지만
I am very
의견은
much
조금
loving
달라.
this game.
그러니 현장에서 곧바로
I
처분을
am glad I
해서
was convinced to play it. The company will most likely attempt to transport me to a containment unit, but I disagree with that decision. I would like to ask you to dispose of me on the spot.
나는 기질적으로
I am
누군가에게
well aware
호감을
that I'm
사는
not the
인물은
kind of
아니라는 건 알고
congenial
있네.
person who earns others'
자네들과
favor
그다지
at
친밀한
first
사이로
meeting,
발전하지도 않았고
if at all.
그러니
I
큰
also don't
거부감은
believe that
들지
our
않을
brief
거야.
relationship has been the most amicable kind. Therefore, I see little reason why you would hesitate to cut me down.
비록 신군같이
Of course,
마음이
sinners
다소
with gentle
무른수한
hearts
자가
like this young
이에
Sinclair
대해
here
반발을
may
표할 수도
express
있겠지만
certain distaste against this decision.
죄종이 되었다는 건
But once I become a
호헨하임이라는
Peccatulum, it may as
개체가
well mean that
죽었다는
Hohenheim, the
의미나
entity,
다름없다네.
has ceased to be.
그러니
So I
남은
hope no
부산물인 죄종을
unnecessary
죽이는
emotions
것에
like guilt
죄책감
clouds your
같은
judgment in
불필요한
killing the
감정을 가지지
Peccatulum, a
말게나.
mere byproduct.
하지만 만일
But what if
돌발
something
상황이
unexpected
일어나면요?
happens?
아무리 그래도 인명이
We're
걸려 있는
talking
건데
about your life here.
매뉴얼 같은
Don't you have any
거라도.
manuals of backup plans or?
간단하네.
This is a
둘 중
very
하나야.
simple matter.
꽝이냐
Nothing more than a
아니냐.
coin flip. Heads or tails.
아직도 그
It appears that
허무맹랑한
you are still insisting on your
50대 50
absurd
지도는
50-50
펼치고
theory.
나는 평범한
I am a
연구자들과는
researcher who
달리
wishes to
수리
humiliate
통계학을 농락하고 싶어하는 사람이니 말일세.
humiliate the field of mathematical statistics, unlike the general lay of the academia.
연구에도 낭만이라는 것이
I
있는
believe
법이야.
there is a certain romanticism
책상
to
앞에서
research.
끙끙댈 바에는
It is much more
많은
exciting to run as
임상
many
케이스를
tests
확보하는
and
게
gain as
설레는
many
거지.
samples as we can than to be stuck behind a desk pouring day and night over books and paper, isn't it?
꽝이 나왔다면 곧바로
If
너를
it's tails,
처분하면
then you may
되고
dispose of me immediately,
그
and the
뒤에
employees
일은
here will take
여기
care of the
직원들이
rest.
알아서 해줄 거야.
Don't forget to
가령
destroy the key
그
inside that
코트
coat
주머니에
pocket
있는 그
and the
열쇠와
files
캐비넷에
inside my
들어있는 파일에
cabinets, for
대한
example.
소고라든가
네, 기억하고
Yes,
있습니다.
we remember.
만약
If I were
내가
to
무사히 뒤틀림이
successfully
되었다면
distort,
절반은
we
해낸
would be
걸세.
halfway to success.
처음으로 자네들이 부러워지는군.
My, for the first
나의
time,
뒤틀림
I'm feeling
결과를
quite the envy
두
for you
눈으로
all.
직접
I
관측할
wish I
수
could be a
있다니.
witness to my very own distortion. Huh.
만일 내 설명을 지금까지 잘 귀담아
If you've been paying
들었다면
attention to my
내
lectures,
뒤틀림도
perhaps you could even come up with
아까
a
말한 규칙에
classification code
맞게
for my distortion
1년
too,
번으로 추측해
going
볼
by the
수도 있겠지.
standards we have discussed earlier.
큰
Not
기대는
that I
하지
have a
않아.
very high expectation that you
대부분의
would.
사람이 고개를
I recently
끄덕이는 건
come to a realization that
말을
people nodding
이해해서가
along to
아니라
my words is not
그저
a signifier
사회적인
of
리액션에 불과하다는
comprehension,
걸
but instead
최근에
an
깨달았거든.
expression of societal niceties. Nods.
그 다음엔
Then the
여기
manager here
관리자가
will open the
나의
entrance to my
심상 던전으로
dungeon of
가는
the
입구를
Fathoms.
열어주겠지. 그런 후에는
And you will progress
지금까지
through the
자네들이
mirror
뒤틀림을
dungeon as you
상대해왔던
have
것처럼
always done when
거울
facing the
던전을 거쳐서
distortion,
나의
to
가장
reach
깊은
into his
심상 속에
deepest
도착한
fathoms
다음
to face
뒤틀림이
my
된 나를
distortion once
한 번
again.
더 상대하게 될 제압하고 돌아오게나.
I wish you the best of luck in your suppression efforts.
흠,
Hmm.
보채군시.
Hexasection. And once you've
여기까지
made it that
성공했다면
far, it is likely that you'll find me
심상정전답게 나는
unconscious.
혼수 상태가
Or,
되어
luck
있거나
would have it,
운이 조금 더
conscious.
좋다면 정신을 바로 차릴 수도 있겠군.
Limbus is...
혼수 상태?
Well,
아니,
I played a little bit
그래도 괜찮은
of
건가?
Lobotomy Corp, but I didn't get very far. I think I only did like the first chunk, like first two. I want to say like first 10 days or whatever. And this is the one I really played the most of. Unconscious. Are you sure this is safe?
아마 사람마다 개체
A
차이가
degree of
있을
case
거라고
by case
추측하네.
variance is to be expected.
원래
It may take some
모습으로
time for a
돌아오기야
full
하겠지만
recovery, but it will happen should you
시간이
succeed.
얼마나 걸릴지는
그러고 보니
That
여러분들이
reminds me. That's how
상대하셨다는
this
김사카
bamboo-headed
실험자도
Kim was
그렇게
brought back as
돌아왔었죠.
well.
김삿갓
Bamboo-headed Kim?
그자가
He's
돌아왔나?
recovered?
저희가
He
안전하게
is safely
잘
contained
격리하고
within our
있습니다.
facilities.
아,
It
유리스 가동
seems that
준비가
they are
끝난
ready to
모양이지.
activate the monolith.
장담하는데
I am confident that I,
뒤틀림이
even as
되어도
distortion, will be
여전히
quite
오동할
the
걸세.
exceptional specimen.
잠깐.
Hang
정말
on,
이렇게
just like
헤어진다고?
that?
최종은 되지
You're not a
않으셨네요.
Pecatulum. Indeed. And I
그들의 소리는
Whoa.
여전히 들리는군.
can still hear them.
여전히
Yes, I remember.
기억하고 있다네.
I still do.
돌아오실 분이라는 건 믿고
I know
있지만
he'll be back, but
꽤 떨리네요.
gosh, this is pretty unnerving. Don't worry, we'll bring him back no matter what.
관리자님이 반드시 데려오겠다고
The manager
말하시네요.
says that we will bring him back no matter what.
든든하네요.
Sure, sounds like a dependable
그럼
sort. This
이걸
manager of yours.
부탁드리겠습니다.
Very well. Please take a look at this. Is this a note? Did he write us tips on how to do this or something?
거기 적힌 걸
He says that all you have
자기
to do is
앞에서
read what's on that
읽어주면
note
된대요.
in front of his distortion.
일종의
Apparently, it's some kind
암호
of
같은 거라고
a
하셨어요.
code. I don't think you'll hear anything but ticking noises from me. Can you read this, Merceau?
명령하신 대로
It will be done as you
수행하겠습니다.
commanded. Merceau nodded, then began to read the words from the note aloud.
로보토미 코퍼레이션.
Lobotomy Corporation,
가능성,
5 minutes.
기대,
Potentiality, anticipation, right hand. The moment Merceau uttered them, the all too familiar portal began to appear around Hohenheim's distortion, as though they were a key to a door. Scattering shards of familiar yet alien sights appeared intermittently beyond the shimmering veil. Hohenheim had already entered the portal as we stood there gawking, but we could still hear his voice echoing through the laboratory.
보여주고 싶지 않았던
I suppose I'll be forced to
누구도
share my
궁금해하지
past.
않을 나의 과거도
The past I never wanted to share.
이곳에선 보여지게
The
되겠지.
past no one cares to learn about.
실험을 위해서는
It is
감내해야 하는
something I
일이라는
must
건 알고
endure
있네.
for the sake of this
하지만
experiment. However,
그렇다고 모든 걸 드러낼
I
필요도
needn't
없겠지.
expose every little detail of it.
어차피
It's
이미 지나가 버린
all in the
모양인가.
past now anyway, isn't it? Oh. Interesting. We're at the starting point of the Dungeon of the Fathoms. We found ourselves in a room that appears to be a workshop of ego gears. If you have scored below 100% synchronization rate in the aptitude test, take only a single ego from here. An ominous warning sign greets us all, and the same words repeat ceaselessly from the speaker, not carelessly. The sinners all go to take a look, enticed by the sign telling us that we can pick up ego gears here, but what we find there are ego gifts. What? These ain't ego gears. These are them gifts or something, right? It appears that ego are manifest here in the shape of ego gifts. Can we just take them all? This is a Dungeon of the Fathoms. As it differs from the usual mirror dungeons, it is highly advisable that its rules are followed. What should we do? Flaming Gauntlet, combat boots with spiky bits, cleaning solution spray. I don't think I want the gauntlet. the boots? This one's seems best suited for the situation we're in. We take the spiked combat boots ego gift. Yeah, rupture. Not what I wanted. Okay. What are we looking at? Very long. Only the one floor. Oh, this won't be as long as I thought then. Okay. Do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9.
교류회.
There we go.
설레네요.
Well, what's going on with them?
다행히 부분적으로는
Good. It appears that I can
스스로 검열
censor these
통제를
with
할
my
수
own
있는
will,
거군.
at least to a degree.
자네들의 목표는
Your mission here is to classify my distortion, reach the end of this dungeon of the fathoms, and bring me
나를
back.
원래대로 돌려놓는 것이라네. 과거를 파헤치는 것이 아니라
Your mission, however, does not involve digging into my past. This is...
여기는
익숙한
It appears that we
공간인 것
have a
같소.
passing familiarity with this place. You. Us.
이자들은 무엇을
What is
하는
it that
것이오?
they seek to convey?
아마 정상적인
I don't
소통을
believe
하긴
any
어려울
level of
것이.
proper communication will be
신상
feasible,
던전이니
given that you are in a dungeon of the fathoms.
아니 그럼 어떻게 좀 해봐.
Well, then do something about it!
미안하지만
I
그게
regret to tell you
가능했다면
that the setting of this dungeon is
여기를
out of
보다
my
흥미로운
hands.
공간으로 만들었을
Had it been
것이.
up to me, I would have manifested a place that was much more fascinating
모든
than
책이 다
this,
존재한다고
like
해도
that library, fabled to have every book in existence.
당신
You used to
과거에
work for the Lobotomy
로보톤
Corporation?
코퍼레이션에 있었던 건가요?
이제는
One of my
지나간
past
걸
careers?
정리하지.
Yes. Us. Us! Diplomacy did not seem to be an option here. The censored people brandished their weapons threateningly and stood in our path. Looks like we're going to have to take them down if we want to make any progress here. It can't be helped. Let's get ready for a fight. Bam, bam. Okay.
그려낸 대로
Oh, well, dang. Okay.
서바주
그 슬픈 눈빛 내리기 심장. 잠깐 저리 대.
낮도 밤도 지나 숨이 타도록 태어낼 것.
Goodbye.
무아몽정.
양반을 떠올렸어요.
온 육백이 심장이. 아비 교환.
훌륭한 단말만 해요.
Several researchers are moving about busily in a hectic-looking laboratory. Did something escape or something? As we stood there gawking at the mess, someone walked up to the sinners. Get out of my way! Actually, you know what? Perfect timing. Eat this. Come on. We don't have much time till the clinical trial report deadline. No, I'm not eating that. Well, then get the hell out of my way. The researcher pushed us aside. Nothing happened. I'm not curious enough to risk it.
그런데 이 사람 정말
So,
뒤틀린
how do we know
거
this
맞아?
guy's actually distorted?
말하는 것만
He
들어서는
doesn't sound any
그냥
different
평소랑
from his
똑같은 것
usual self.
같은데? 뒤틀림이
The
이상에 어느
sanity's
정도 영향을
degradation due to
미치는지는
distortion affects every
사람마다
subject
편차가
differently.
제각각일 테니까요.
I mean, yeah,
아무리
but
그래도 그렇지.
censoring his own
여기저기
fathoms?
검열까지 할 줄.
하지만
But
호hen하임 씨
Hohenheim, you're in a
이곳은
dungeon of the
심상던전이에요.
fathoms.
보여주고 싶지
We
않아도
will see through it with
반드시
Dante's
능력으로
powers, whether
겨루고
you want to show us or
우리는
not.
도달하고
일리 있는
You
지적이군.
make a fair assessment.
그렇다면
How about this
이렇게
then?
하도록 피할 수 없다면
If you were to
신속하게
see them
보여줄
anyway,
테니
allow me to save you the trouble and give you a
똑바로
quick
나를
rundown
만나러
instead. Come visit me as soon as you finish watching my tale.
이 이야기는
This tale began when that
그자가
man
내
walked into my
연구실문을
laboratory.
들어오면서부터 시작이 되었네. 그래,
Yes,
나는 개인
I had a
연구실이
personal
있었지.
laboratory all to myself.
엘리트
One
연구원을
of the few
위한
perks of
면한변의
being
특권 중 하나였어.
an elite researcher.
정말
This guy's
멋대로
just telling the
이야기를
story however he
진행하네요.
wants to, isn't he?
씨? 호hen하임 씨.
Mr. Hohenheim? Let me think. I don't quite remember what he looked like.
이런 느낌으로 생겼던 것 같기도 하네.
Something like this, perhaps?
아무렴 어떤가.
Whichever is the case. I was planning to censor his appearance anyway.
드릴 말씀이 있어서요.
Hey, I wanted to talk to you about something.
잠깐.
Stop.
자네 혹시
Are
나한테
you here to
화를
express
내기
your
위해 찾아온
displeasure
건가?
with me?
예?
The what now?
그런
If you are,
거라면 미리
do let me know
말해줄게.
from the get-go. I
사실
had a feeling
예상은
it was
하고
about
있었다네.
time this would
3개월이면
happen.
나쁘지 않은
3
기록이었거든.
months, not a bad record for
누군가와
working without a
활동
workplace
없이 일한다는 거 말이야.
conflict.
아,
Oh,
혹시
if
퇴사하고
this is
싶은
about
거라면
quitting,
내가
then
아니라
you should find a
인사팀에
much
말하는
better
게 더
audience
수월하네.
among the human resources team.
아니 그게 아니라
No, I mean,
고맙다는 인사를 하고
I'm just
싶어서
here to
왔어요.
thank you
뒷골목 출신의
for
저를
picking me,
여기에
some dude from the
뽑아준 거
back streets, to work here.
당신이라고
I heard
들었어요.
it was you who made the hiring decision.
뭐랄까 제 가능성을 보신
I don't know how to
거잖아요.
put this, but you're the only one who saw my, what's the word? Yeah, my potentiality. You saw something that no one else cared to look into before. You know what I mean?
당연하지만
But it had nothing to do with something so grandiose like his
아니었네.
potentiality.
날개는 고작
A
그런
wing
이유로
does not
뒷골목
hire
출신을
people from
채용하지
the
않지.
back streets for something so insignificant.
대외적으로 알려진 적은
While
없었지만
this information has never been publicly available, Lobotomy Corporation's primary criterion was trauma.
끔찍하고
Candidates with
극복하기
horrible,
어려운
insurmountable
트라우마를 지닌
trauma were often favored by the
순간
company.
높았네. 그러다 보니 자연스럽게
In an indirect way, it was only natural that they would begin to favor candidates who originate from the back streets. Your
인사는 잘
greetings are
들었네,
acknowledged,
이제
Jimmy.
나가 봐도 좋아.
Now, feel free to leave my office.
이름 그거 아닌데.
I ain't Jimmy.
그런데 호헨하임 씨는 왜
Anyways,
항상
I've been
혼자
meaning to
있는 걸
ask Mr.
좋아하세요?
Hohenheim, why do you always enjoy being alone?
놀랍게도 나는 혼자서도
It
시간을
may come
잘
as a surprise
즐긴다네.
to you, but I am
일반적인
very
사람들이랑
adept at
다른
spending my time
두
all on
배까지
my
차이점
own.
중 하나기도 하지.
It is one of the hundreds of distinguishing features that set me apart from ordinary men.
있잖아요.
Say, don't you need someone to be
말
like
잘
your
듣는
loyal
오른팔
right-hand
하나
man?
필요하지 않으세요? 내 오른팔은 잘
My right hand
건사하고
is doing
있다만
just fine. Thank you very much.
호헨하임 씨는
Do you believe in potentialities, Hohenheim?
지금 봐도 정말
What an
사람을
unrelentingly
듣지 않는
stubborn
직원이야.
employee he was, even in hindsight.
저는 당신 덕택에 믿어요.
Thanks to you, I do.
그래서 이런
And I've been
생각도 하고
thinking,
있어요.
if I keep at it, one day I might even find
이렇게
myself
열심히
living at large in a
노력한다면
nest, changing my
둥지에도 갈 수
world
있지
little by
않을까.
little.
저 같은 게
Kind of like how a thing like
Lobotomy
me managed to
Corporation에
snag a
입사한
position
거죠.
here at Lobotomy Corporation.
그래서
So
조금 더
I'm
당신
thinking
옆에
here
붙어 있어
that I
보려고.
want to stick around in your circle.
나 같은 유능한 연구원은
To bring about
가능하겠지만
such a drastic
자네같이
changes to
대부분의
one's life
능력치가
is in the
평범에
realm
머물러
of
있는 자들은
feasibility
그렇게
for an
드문
exceptional
확률이겠지.
researcher like myself indeed. But you are, like most of the rabble, painfully average of most qualities and therefore unlikely to be the moving force in that change.
나는 보편적
I
가능성이
have no
아니라 나
faith in
스스로를
universal
믿네.
things like potentialities. I have faith in myself and myself alone.
내가 참
Besides,
싫어하는 분야란 말이지.
I'm not very partial to mathematical statistics like the probability theory anyway.
그러니 오른팔 왼팔도
So,
스스로
I would like
건사하는
to
게
keep both
좋겠고.
my right and left hands as my own. Have a nice day.
그거
You want to
아세요?
know something about me?
제가 말이죠.
I'm the kind of guy who
깊게
doesn't
생각 안
really
하고
think
무작정
about
덤벼드는
things. Action before deliberation, you get me?
생각 없는
Ah,
자유분방합니다.
thoughtless and carefree.
뒷골목 출신의
Possibly the
유일한
only merit to
장점이겠지.
be found in those who originate from the back streets.
아,
Or
아니면
was that a
혹시
thinly veiled
내게
part of
폭력적인
physical
행위를
assault?
가할 거라는 협박이었나? 아, 이번에 새로
No, I'm
이송된
talking
환상체요.
about that new Abno that just got shipped here.
관리법이 조금
It's a tricky one to
특이하더라고요.
manage. I'll tell
상대의
you what,
마음을 읽어서
it reads your
논리적인
mind,
작전이고
screwing up
뭐고
all kinds
다
of
쓸모없게
strategies or whatever,
만든다는데.
as long as it's based on hard logic.
올해 최우수 부서
Want to shoot for the Department of the
같이
Year
노려보지
reward
않을래요?
together?
자네
You seem to be rather skilled in
조금
the
뭉퉁한
art
것
of
같고.
transactions.
뒷골목 출신의 유일한
One of the few
장점 중
merits
하나죠.
found in those who originate from the back streets.
그래, 인정하지.
I will admit, I suppose I was
당시에는
overcome by a certain ennui
좀
back
무리했던
then,
것 같네. 돌이켜 생각해보면
and in hindsight,
그런
it was
쓸데없는
foolish of me to
대화를 나누는
engage in
편이
such inane
그렇게 좋은
conversations.
선택은 아니었어.
You, us.
내 과거의
Ah,
선물들이
the remnants of my
공격해오기
past come to
시작하는구나.
haunt us.
어쩌면 저들이 정말
Perhaps it
해를
is I
끼치고
whom they
싶은가.
truly wish to hurt.
감상은 어떤가요?
These are kind of cool with the glitchy effects.
어중간한 예술은
그를 통달한다면
임파스터
Impesto.
어디에서도 볼 수 없을 아주
훌륭한 단말만해요.
배움일수록 원망도 옅어지나.
다음엔 당신을 소재로 써보고 싶습니다.
결국 해냈네요. 올해 최우수
It's
부사상.
finally here. The Department of the Year award.
그래, 내가 해냈어.
Indeed, I have finally done it.
물론
With some minor
자네의
assistance
덕도
from you,
조금은
of course,
있었지.
and
그리고
some other employees.
그밖에 직원들도 인정하세요.
Come on, admit it.
회사 내
Don't you
평판을
notice that a
조금
lot more
그렸는데
employees are saying
이제는 먼저
hello, good
인사해주는
morning, and what
직원들이
have you to you in the hallways
이게
compared to when your
제가
reputation
오른팔
was a
역할을
bit.
든든하게 해준
you know,
덕이라니까요.
It's all because I'm just that good of a right-hand man.
확실히
I
환상체를
will admit that
관찰할
your
때
intuitive
자네의
and spontaneous
직관적이고
eye was of
즉흥적인 시선이
some assistance when it
도움이
came to
되긴 했지.
identifying certain observations among abnormalities.
이게 바로 가능성이라니까요.
This is the potentiality I was talking about, man.
당신이 저를
The
뽑았을 때
same thing
보았던
you saw in me when you
바로
decided to
그거요.
get me on board.
화난 분위기에 초를 치게 되어서
Apologies for
미안하지만
ruining the moment, but
그 이후로 몇 년
the
정도의
next few
시간이
years quickly and busily
못하라고
flew by
번쩍
without
섞여
much
흘러갔지.
trouble.
몇 번의 최우수 부사상과
Of course,
선진과
we picked up ourselves a few more
공동 연구작업도
Department of the
같이
Year
하려고
awards, some promotions, and some collaborative researches.
그리고
Yet all things must
모든
come
것은
to an end.
끝이지. 모두가 뻔히 알
The
거야.
infamous fall of Lobotomy
Lobotomy
Corporation, for
Corporation.
one.
당신
You, I'm assuming she's saying you left us.
그러니까 이자들이
So,
뭐라고 내게
I don't
말을
suppose you have any
꺼냈지.
trouble hazarding what they're all telling me,
들리지 않아도
even as the
알수
words come
있겠지.
out fragmented.
당신은
You left us.
끊임없는
Nothing but words of endless resentment.
당신은
You left us behind.
버렸어.
구 엘사의
the fall of the
마지막이란
former L Corp.
유리 씨가
I remember what Miss
말했지.
Yuri told us.
지분은
The
순식간에
site
무너져
crumbled in an instant,
직원들은
trapping the
큰 상처와
employees in
그
there with the
안에서
abnormalities.
같이
What?
무슨 소리죠?
What is this sound?
나는 지부가 흔들리고
The whole
있어요.
structure is quaking. What the hell is... Initiating site burial in 100 seconds. Any remaining employees must immediately evacuate the structure. Counting down. 95. 94.
지상으로 가는 탈출용
The
포트가
escape
왔대요.
pods to the surface are
자리
here.
하나가 남고
There's only
다음
one seat
장치는
left. They're saying that the next one's in
5분 후에 온다.
5 minutes. I
잘 듣게.
listen closely.
냉정한 말일
At
수도
the risk of
있겠지만
sounding rather callous,
보통
I
이런
must
재난
inform you
상황에서
that the chance of
생존하는 건
survival in cases of
극소수라네.
crises such as this is usually granted only to a very small minority of those affected.
그저 공정성을
Some,
따지자면
who prioritize the fairness of the process, may settle on primitive methods such as drawing lots to see who gets to escape.
조금 더 야만적인
And in more
자들이 모인
barbaric
곳에선
groups, the survivor
오로지
will be
신의
decided
논리로
by none
생존자를
other than the
결정할 거야.
rule of might.
하지만 다행스럽게도
However,
이
I am
부서는
glad to find
지성적인
myself
자들이
among
모여
those
있는
who are
것
on the side of
같아서
intelligence.
제안하겠네.
So I make this argument, a suggestion before you.
자네들같이
Compare yourselves, whose sole final purpose in life is clinging to your mediocre office
빚을
jobs
갚는
and
것만이
making good on
인생
your
최종
debt
목표인
payments.
자들과 살아남은 세월에
And
비례하여
me, who has
뛰어난
produced
업적을
several
남긴
groundbreaking
논문과
and
연구
epical
실적을 내는 나를
epochal
비교하였을 때
theses and research results at such an early age,
누가 더 가치가
whose life,
있겠는가?
in your eyes, is of greater worth. Yes, and that is how this tale ends.
90초 후 지분은
The
무너졌고
compound collapsed 90 seconds
나는
later.
벌써 직원들을
I
뒤로
left
두고
the employees of my
탈출용
department
엘리베이터를
behind and
탑승
boarded the
시작하는
escape pod elevator and survived.
어떻게 그렇게
How could you? Without even a hint of remorse.
화는 추한 감정이군요.
Wrath is a hideous emotion.
언제나 냉정하고
I am here
의식적으로
today
살아가는
only because I have always maintained a
지금
cold,
자리까지 올수 있을지.
rational head. The Elcourt branch within Hohenheim's Dungeon of the Fathoms begins to crumble. It almost appeared as though his heart was crumbling as well.
자,
Well,
이제
now
뒤틀린
that's
나를
over with.
만나러 오게.
I invite you to come face me, the distortion,
그러면
and the
마침내
experiment
시간은
will come
종료야.
to an end. But just finding and defeating his distortion in a fight, I don't think that'll bring him back. I just know it.
저도
I agree.
동의해요. 아직
We're
완전히
still in deep
도달하지
waters
못한
here.
것 같다는
This
직감이.
can't possibly be all there is to it. Correct. This is probably just what he wanted us to see / know. We see the Fey lantern within the containment unit. A cyan-hued fairy flutters toward the wiry, ancient branches of the tree and softly lands on one of them. The branch seating the fairy sways, as though to entice us to get closer to them. Bright, countless yellow eyes glimmer from the shadows beneath its roots. What a beautiful specimen, this Fey lantern. Have you finished your observations? We've been learning a lot about the abnormality recently. There's still a lot of unknowns, but still. Speaking of which, here's a pop quiz. What ego gift can you get from the Fey lantern? I don't know. Midwinter Nightmare? Right on the money. You know your Fey lantern. That's not all. Recently, it's been giving out these things, too. Take this with you. I'm just glad to have run into a kindred soul. Receive a bony twig. It seems to have come directly from the Fey lantern itself. We got twigs. More rupture. Here we go.
엄중한 심사 부탁드립니다.
All right. She's got that one. He's got that one. You go here.
그려낸 대로.
그 슬픈 명력의 심장이 잠깐 저릿했기에
개라는 소재를 통달한다면
마지막으로 남길 말은?
Ugh.
무아몽중
Perfect. This one's gonna kill that one. Oh, it's not gonna work. Just have her take it. And
어디에서도 볼 수
이
없을
순간이
색채.
닿도록 베어내리라. 베어낼수록
노력의 심장이 잠깐 저릿했기에
I was gonna say,
훌륭한
kill it. Easy peasy. Ooh. Oh, oh, well, alright, we're going in now.
교류해. 설레네요.
The other one just looked like a normal mode. This one looks a little different. Oh, hello. I see.
그려낸 대로.
Guess there's something in blue and some red.
이 순간이 닿도록 베어내리라.
Look at the tiny little flash.
무아몽중
So it's gonna evade again.
어디에서도 볼
이
수 없을
순간이
색채.
닿도록 베어내리라.
셋째
No, Marceau.
과제가
파우스트, 신체파의 예술을 보여줄 시간이랍니다.
임파스타.
딸아이 그 상처를
예술.
기억하고 있으면 좋겠구려.
Ah, okay, she's actually moved on.
영감이 떠올랐어요.
들리세요? 한 쌍의 상황볼과 24개의 늑골이차 안에는 티비아의 멜로디가.
8관의 두께. 나쁘지 않아요.
그러기 심장이
이 순간이 닿도록 베어내리라.
자, 임파스터.
예술적이네요.
그려낸 대로.
Is dead, Jim. Take it slow.
이제 친해졌네요.
Man, I couldn't stay in bed anymore, but I still feel like I need to sleep more. At the end of this hallway, a group of researchers is having a discussion in front of an unnaturally dark place. Noticing our presence, their faces brighten up as they approach us. Please, will you investigate this area ahead for us? We will help with the best of our ability, should you accept. Sure. Ooh, pride and envy, huh? Perfect. I love to see some proper enthusiasm. Yes, I like your attitude. Take this with you. It'll help you in your investigations. After handing us the gear, the researchers walked up to the sinners and began examining them. Once they were finished, the sinners were all in tip-top shape again. Hell yeah! Regular operational gear obtained.
봤지? 내 터치가 살짝 들어간 것만으로도 때깔이 완전 달라진다고.
이번에 읽어줄 동화책은
So what's the truth,
이것으로.
Hohenheim? We arrived at the entrance to Hohenheim's laboratory.
이것이 마지막 지시가 될
This
수도
may be my
있다고
final
생각하네.
order to you.
나를 제 앞에서
Either
원래
suppress
있던
me and
곳으로
return
무사히
safe and
돌아가거나
sound where you came from,
혹은 제 앞에
or
실패하고 날
fail the
경미하고
suppression and place
그
me in
다음
a
결과를
containment
관찰해봐도
chamber.
좋겠지.
And perhaps we can observe what happens next. That's when Heathcliff suddenly strode forward.
호hen하임,
Hohenheim, you...
여전히
Do you still believe in that potentiality?
나는 믿어.
I do.
그 믿음으로 살아가.
It's what keeps me going.
당신 밑에
You only hire
연구원들도
researchers from the
전부
back streets,
뒷골목
don't you?
출신으로만 뽑았지.
I heard from him earlier.
아까 당신은
They told me
사시사철
that you're a
재수없지만
right pompous bloke, but
그래도 덕분에
thanks to you, they
세상에
can
좀 더
continue to
쓸만한 게 있을
research and
거라는
believe that there
믿음으로
might be things in the
연구를 하고
world
있다고.
that's worth working toward. Heathcliff.
자네들의 행동 현상도 파악해두는 편이 좋겠군.
Did I miss the subtitles? Were there subtitles? We'll save that.
그려낸 대로.
Whoa. Bum, bum, bum. Oh.
무아몽중.
There's something now. What's he got here? Passives? Subject of observation. Transfer continuing stack. You want stack every time this unit takes or deals damage with their attack skill effect against this sort of full and high. Uh-huh. Every 10 on the target inflict 1 tremor potency in time. Ooh. Turn 3, new pattern of repair series powerful skill. Okay. Unit does not take any HP damage during the preparation period before using the skill. Greatly enhance the skill. Does not count damages taken by shield HP, which is like what he has. Transfer gain shield equal 30% missing HP. Max use 15% max HP. 100 plus 100% damage from rupture effects. I see. Okay. Oh my god, how many passives do you need, buddy? Yikes, okay. Let's save that.
이 순간이 닿도록 베어내리라.
둘.
거기서 지켜보시죠.
More debuffs. All the debuffs.
임파스터.
Oh boy. Okay. Darn it. This way.
어디에서도 볼 수 없을 색채.
한 쌍의 상황볼과 24개의 늑골이 자아내는 티비아의 멜로디가
여섯째.
이 순간이 닿도록 베어내리라. 낮도 밤도 지나 숨이 닿도록 베어낼 것.
보여드려야겠군요.
예술적이에요.
왜냐하면 예술은
데이터는 이만하면 충분할 테지.
Interesting. Perfect.
어서 봐주.
밀도가 아쉬운데.
인스퍼레이션 감사합니다.
방제.
이 순간이 닿도록 베어내리라.
더 야성적인 깊이로. 마무리는 강렬하게.
숨막히도록 견뎌왔고 절박하게 갈망했으며 헤아릴 수 없이 저주했으니
지리넬
Eeky. What plagues your mind, manager? Your suppression efforts seem to be smooth sailing. It is exactly as you have seen, manager, save for a few parts that were censored. I concealed nothing from your view. I don't believe I've committed any wrong by escaping that place alone, leaving the others to be buried there. Of course, it may be reprehensible from a moral standpoint, but why would anyone ever look at it from that perspective, manager? Especially when you are well aware that, in the city, such a perspective is entirely irrelevant and worthless. I can feel his gaze on me. Like you said, the suppression is going well, but this feels wrong. This shouldn't end like this. What should I tell him? What is Hohenheim trying to hide from us? But if you do feel like what you did was wrong, you're running away. Must be passive confirmation bias. There's a counter, weakens the shield. The shield. Faust relayed my words to Hohenheim. Running away. An interesting point. But allow me to retort. My choice was not to run away. To deny and evade what has happened is too pathological a choice, isn't it? I'm very well aware that the only way to solve a problem is to face it head on, which is another aspect of myself that sets me apart from the common man. When an issue arises, or, in very rare cases, were I to find myself in the tumult of emotional nature, I first attempt to establish a logical explanation. I reconstruct what was perceived and regulate my emotions. Expressing fury and anger is a plain waste of resources. But I must admit one thing, now that I have conducted some level of cold introspection. I'll admit that it wasn't entirely mature of me to censor so much of my fathoms. Of course, this does not mean that I will now remove the censored memories. My ego is not so feeble as to be shaken by a few words. I didn't really understand most of what Hohenheim was talking about, but I can't shake this thought that everything he's been saying was just an effort to distance himself from his own emotions. Becoming inadequate defense mechanism.
도망칠 곳도 없지 않나. 결국 이 모든 심상은 나로 이루어졌으니.
Well, where did the home live? But
양밤이 떠올랐어.
격정의 마음을 모방하겠어.
Furiosa going on, so you know.
이걸로 감사는
딸아이도 이
끝.
상처를 기억하고 있으면 좋겠구려.
지상으로 가는 탈출용 포트가 왔대요.
The escape pods to the surface are here, but there's only one seat left.
5분
They're
후에
saying
온다.
the next one's in 5 minutes. I
당신이
look.
내
I
가능성을
don't
보고
actually
나를
believe you
뽑았다고
hired me because you saw
생각하시나.
my potential or something like that.
하지만
But I want to
결국
believe
그로
that you
인해서
found the hope and
가능성을
potentialities
발견했을지도 모른다고
because of
믿어요.
me.
계속 노력하다
A
보면
hope, an anticipation that we
결국엔
can make
나아질
things
거라는
better
거지.
as long as we keep at it.
나는
I can't leave you all
모두를
behind.
남겨두고 떠날 수
I
없네.
can't just save my skin without everyone.
오른팔의
This is what
역할이란
a
게 원래
right-hand man
이런
does,
거잖아요.
isn't it?
당신이 발견한 내
Take my
가능성을 가지고
potentiality you found in Rise.
지상으로 올라가세요.
Take it with you to the surface.
그럼
But you,
요한 잘.
Johan, what about you?
뭐 언젠가는
Well, maybe next time.
다음
Some
기회가
other
오겠죠.
time. Wrath
추한 감정이.
is a hideous emotion.
그래서 나는 그 지구의
That is why I did
입구에서
nothing at the entrance of that branch.
어떤 것도 하지 않았지. 그저
Only
기억만 할 뿐.
remembering nothing more.
내가 저버린 자들.
Remembering the ones I've left behind. I can sense the dungeon of the fathoms slowly beginning to close. Sometime later,
무사히 다시
I've returned.
돌아왔군.
Safe and sound.
잘 돌아오셨네요.
Welcome
팀장님.
back, boss.
나는
I, to
사실
be frank,
히스클리프
I
같은
once
사람이
wished to
되고
be someone
싶었네.
like yourself, Heathcliff.
우리도 히스클리프 씨가
What are you talking
히스클리프 씨처럼
about?
되지
We
않길
don't want
바라는데
Heathcliff to be
무슨
like
소리세요?
Heathcliff. Wait, what? We don't want Heathcliff to be like Heathcliff. Excuse me, Ishmael.
세상을 숫자 노름만이 아니라
Because it's not easy to put my faith not in games and numbers,
쉬운
but in
일이
those
아니니까.
slimmest potentialities of the world and continue to exist.
비록 연구원답진
I know
않지만
it's not very
인간으로서
it's not very
낭만은
befitting a
있겠지.
researcher to be so, but it is quite the romantic attitude for a human to embody, is it not?
내 실험은 이로써
Well, the
끝났네.
experiment is over.
결과는
It was
성공이었지?
a huge success.
덕에
All
말이야.
thanks to us, right? No,
아니
it was a
실패했네.
failure. How did I know?
스스로를 믿는 것만이
I'd
답이라는
established this
나만의 가설을
hypothesis. The
세웠었거든.
sole answer was to hold a firm belief in the self, and nothing else.
만일 내 가설이
Had my
성공했다면 나는
hypothesis been correct, I would have remained
뒤틀림으로써
innocent.
남아 있었겠지.
You wanted to remain in them?
그러니 이렇게 말하겠네.
Thus, I would like to
실패시켜줘서
extend my gratitude to all of you. Thank
고맙다고.
you for making me fail.
내 뒤틀림의
It seems that
분류는
the classification for my distortion was
KOSU 로
HE-5-SU. Disappointingly
그만
mediocre,
무언에서
but I
아쉽지만
don't suppose it can be helped.
어쩌겠나. 결국 세상
The world is a place where we
그런
must
자들
find the
사이에서
ray of
가능성을
potentiality
찾아야 하는
among the
법인데.
mediocre, after all. Let us move
이제
on
이동하죠.
now. Mephistopheles is prepared to
메피스토펠레스의
depart.
출발 준비가 완료되었어요.
Okay. Hohenheim's researchers waved at us.
언젠간
We'll
볼
meet
일이
again,
있겠죠?
right?
저는
Ew. No,
사양할래요.
thank you.
모든 것엔 다 끝이 있는 법.
Everything has an end.
지금 이 순간이
So,
마지막이라고
Do
생각하는
consider
편이
this to be our
좋다네.
final meeting. Won't we have to do another checkup in the future, though?
마지막까지 참
Down the last exchange, this guy. The last thing we saw before the portal activated were the LCE researchers pushing up their glasses in our general direction. Though I'd only taken a step or two, the entire world around us seemed to transform, landing us back inside the transportation instrument. Now that I think about it, we didn't even get to learn why Gregor's bones made those cracking noises. All we learned from this experience is that the sinners have all become mediocre, but they each held certain potentialities within themselves. Each of us mulling over the events at the LCE, we returned to the bus where Karen and Virgilius were awaiting for us.
완벽하게 수행되었지 않은가?
We did it!
아직 기약이
Okay,
없구려.
quick break.
그렇다면 여전히 난 아무것도 인가?
Alright, so there's no more mini. It's just straight into the next intervallo, huh? Okay. Which is view the first story stage unlocked. Okay. Ah, okay, here we go. It feels like I'm catching up. Happy New Year.
단테, 어제 먹고 남았던 케이크 어디 있는지 못
Dante,
봤어?
any idea where that leftover cake from yesterday went? No idea. I mean, why would I know? I can't even eat.
이미 동키가
Darn.
먹었나?
Did Donkey already get her paws on them? Rhodia rubbed her tired eyes, muttered something about how we should have partied in her room instead, and stumbled to the back door. The New Year's came swiftly to the inhabitants of the bus after the various incidents at the LCE. The sinners all came from different backgrounds and parts of the city, but annual celebration for New Year's seemed to be a thread that connected their cultures together. They began floating the idea of a New Year's party and...
좋네! 그러면
Excellent!
본인이 직접
Then,
주최하지!
permit me the honor of hosting this banquet. With her usual overdramatic boast, coupled with the familiar twinkle in her eyes, Don Quixote declared that there would indeed be a New Year's party. Thus, it was decided.
또?
Again?
아이,
After all the hell
저번에도
we went through with
크리스마스랍시고
that, with the
뒷문까지
back door
들어가서
and whatnot for
난장판을
the out-of-season
벌였었잖아.
Christmas celebration?
그때는 가져온
Yes, I must
장식품으로
insist,
버스를 꾸미기만
for
했지
'twas
따로
but an
뭘
effort
하진
to decorate the
않았다는
bus.
거.
The intent quite divorced from the act of celebration. Don Quixote glanced at Sinclair, sheepishly scratching the back of her head.
아,
Ah,
저는
don't worry
이제
about me,
진짜
really.
괜찮은데요.
Well, tis true that mine actions
이전에
have
본인이
brought
난장을
thee
좀
quite the
피운 것도
distress,
있고
unintentionally, I might add.
본인은
Thus,
아니었지만
I ask thee,
이렇게
wouldst thou
분위기를
not agree
환기하는
to
것이
that a communal event to mark the occasion might freshen both our spirits and bodies? I can't even begin to imagine her amnesiac self even taking a moment to give a damn about how Sinclair might take it. But I guess with memory came tact. It's an improvement.
뭐 다 같이
You
보내는
know,
첫 새해인데
It's our first New
기념할
Year's
만하지 않나?
together. It sure is an
종소리를
occasion for
딱 들어줘야
celebration, huh?
뭔가 넘어간 기분이
Gotta hear
든단
that bell
말이지.
go ding to really mark the transition to a new year, right?
다 같이 신년의 첫 해돋이를 보겠구려.
Ah,
기념할 일이라고
it seems
보.
that we shall be welcoming the first light of the New Year's in company of one another. This is indeed a cause for celebration.
신년 전야의
A
국수는
bowl of
제법
noodles before the last night of
클래식하지.
New Year fades. Classic. Could go for some noodles.
모두들 이렇게 좋아해 주니
Such a
내
bubbling
가슴도
enthusiasm
따뜻해지네.
from ye warmeth my own heart.
성대하게 준비하겠네.
Forsooth,
반짝
the grandiosity of this banquet shall be one for the
맛있는
books.
것도.
Fireworks most brilliant, enough delicacies to...
그럼
Baron,
다음 정차
when's our
예정은
next stop?
언제지?
내피는 앞으로
Matthew will be
사흘은
running
달릴
nonstop
거야.
for 3 days at
빠른
least.
도로에서
Only
멈추는 바보는
dum-dums
없어.
stop on a fast road. So she says.
그렇다는군.
Virgilius muttered with his usual sardonic edge, one fist under his chin. Fie!
내년
For next year's celebration,
미리
the banquet shall be prepared. The promised hour. Don Quixote's idea of a grand banquet depressingly fizzled into nothingness. But Rhodia brought out the cakes and cookies she'd stashed in her room so we could at least hold a small celebration for the New Year's together. After that, we all stayed up together, watched the New Year's first sunrise briefly paint the city in gold, then retired to sleep. When everyone woke up, rubbing their tired eyes, The world outside the bus had completely transformed. There was a behemoth of a structure, bizarre in its presence, and its walls seemingly made of gargantuan steel plates.
H사
H
것이요?
The sinners began to voice their surprise, appropriately so, as what came into view was different from any of the nests we'd passed by on our journey thus far. Is that massive structure all one building? If that whole thing's the nest, then where the hell's the back streets? That's big enough to cover H-Corp's territory and then some. Well, there he goes again, asking dumb questions while we're taking a peep at the guidebook.
안내서는 손도 안 댄 거겠죠. 설명하자면
That's
저건
not the
분지가
nest.
아니에요.
That huge box you see
저
over there?
건물
That's
전체가
District 8.
8구거든요.
H사에서는
We call it
홍원이라고
Hongwon,
부른답니다.
the vast garden here at H-Corp.
건물의 중앙에는 둥지.
The nest
그
lies within the
테두리로는
center of the
뒷골목이
structure
있죠?
and the back streets without.
어우,
Ugh.
좋아하네 그럼.
So they squeeze the
바글바글
entire
모여서 살고
population
있다는
of
거야?
this
빛도 안
district
되는
in
곳에서?
there. Do they just not get a ray of sunlight all year round? Huh.
그래도
Well, at least they won't have to worry about the rain.
어디?
Ah!
좀 보겠네.
Prithee, avail me a sight as well. As the sinners began to gather one by one at the other side of the bus, stirred awake from their last night's rest, I felt my gaze drawn toward Hong Lu. I looked for signs of concern or distress on his face, worried. It wasn't exactly something unique to Hong Lu, but the stories about his past home life we've heard throughout the year, whenever he felt like sharing them, were all consistently and terribly depressing.
막상
It's
지내보면
not such a bad place
생각만큼
once you
나쁜
actually
곳은
try living here for
아니랍니다.
a while. But his lips, ever so slightly curled upward into a kindly and relaxed smile, are making the same expression as ever. An expression that hasn't changed at all since our first meeting. Maybe it's just a cultural difference, kind of like how Hong Lu can be so nonchalant about things that should give most people pause, but actually no. I'm not helping anyone or anything by entertaining these thoughts. My job at this moment is to keep a close eye on Hong Lu more so than usual. And if the time comes for me to help him, as the manager, I'll give it my all. Besides, whoa! This thing's even bigger
가까이서
up
보니까
close.
생각보다 엄청 크잖아. 이런 거는
Verily,
과거에
I
어떤
carry
몸에서
no
본
recollection
적이
of a
없는
structure
경우만.
so grand, even in past adventures of mine. If my efforts aren't enough, I know I can trust the sinners to lend me a hand. Hey, let me see too. I collected my thoughts and approached the sinners who were flattened up against the glass window to get a good view. Oh, there we are! Tiny little bus! That does help put some sense of scale to it. Good lord. Oh,
부름이란
나를
연료는 드디어 내 차례냐?
perfect.
당장 집행해주지.
Once we left the bus,
아이고,
oh man,
결국에는
can't believe we had to get off the
여기로
bus
와서 내렸구만.
here. We have to make a formal complaint against H-Corp for this crap. What the hell were they thinking, doing shoddy construction work at the entrance of the highway that leads straight into the nest?
공사야.
Many
여러
causes
이유가
there may be to
있겠소만.
such construction projects, yet
멀찍이
perhaps an
주의
early warning
표지판이라도
sign ere
해둬야
our
하지 않는가
approach to the
싶구려.
site would have been a sensible
카롱군의
So it's like-
멋진 드리프트가 아니었으면
This whole thing's like Kowloon.
생각하기도 싫네. 이렇게 몸을
I
끝내는
think
건
that was the name of
상상조차
that
못해봤으니.
city. Were it not for young Karen's most valiant drifting, I shudder to even imagine the terrible possibilities. 'Twould have been a most awful end to an adventure. It's no surprise that the sinners all had a piece of their mind to speak. As we drove up to the entryway, we unexpectedly came across a mess of badly put together steel plates blocking our path in the middle of the road. Karen quickly spun the bus around, which meant that everyone ended up being thrown about like rag dolls.
다행히 내부로 빠지는 도로가 있어서
Good thing there was
망정이지.
another road off the highway that
아니었으면
leads into the
카론이
city,
후진하겠다는
right?
걸 뜯어
I
말려야
bet Karen
했을걸.
would have tried to reverse gear all the way back to the last interchange.
대신
But
둥지까지 가려면
looks like
이
we'll be going
구비구비
through all
골목
these
같은
winding
곳을
alleyways
지나야만
to get to the
하겠지만.
nest. It's so dark in here. We are greeted by a dark street upon disembarking from the bus, illuminated only by faint strands of light. It was immediately obvious that we found ourselves in the back streets of H Corp.
겉보기엔 꽤 화려했는데
Looked pretty impressive from the outside, but
사람 사는
it's no
곳은
different from the
똑같네.
other back streets inside, eh?
그러게.
Yep, it's a
익숙한
familiar
풍경이야.
sight. Gotta
진짜
say,
머리 날
it's
정도.
getting real old.
이곳은
I asked thee,
둥지까지도
is
이런
the nest of this
느낌인가?
district shrouded in such darkness as well?
아니요.
No.
8, 9
These
뒷골목만의
particular sites
풍경이라고
are
보시는
limited to
게
the back
옳을
streets of
겁니다.
District 8. The back streets of this district weren't very different from the other ones we'd visited in the past. People hurrying through the streets as though they were being chased by something. People scowling and glaring at the ground with some sickness or discomfort. Scenes all too common in every corner of the city. There is one thing about this place that stood out from the other districts, however. They're kind of reminding me of the former G-Corp soldiers back at District 4. What? What do you mean? You mean those fellas? The growths on their flesh appeared too organic to be prosthetics. Some of them had odd protrusions or nodules bulging from their skin as well. Not all, Manager Bud. Look, they haven't all mutated the same pattern, like into an insectoid form, for example. Well, I guess I should commend you for not looking at them through a biased lens.
저건 8, 9의
You are
특징적인
observing the
치료법입니다.
aftermath of District 8's distinctive method of treatment.
아,
Oh,
그
so this is where the
정체모를
rumors about that
쾌락촉한
bluish
연고를
healing
바르고
ointment
붕대를
came from,
감으면
huh?
다음날에
Apparently
찢어진
they can
피부가
cure any
낫는다는
flesh wound
소문의
after just
진원제가
one night dressed
여기군요.
in bandages.
다소 부정확한 이야기가 될 수
It
있어.
seems that certain
덧붙여드리자면
misconceptions must be addressed.
그것은 모두
They
H사의
are the
특이점인
variations of
환을
H Corp's
활용하는 방법의
singularity,
일부입니다.
the bolus. The
환이요?
bolus?
약재를 동그랗게
She is
빚어낸
likely
환약을
referring to
의미하는 것으로
medicines
보인다.
brewed and kneaded into ball-shaped pills.
맞습니다.
Correct.
H사
H Corp are the Hongyuan
홍원생명공학그룹에서는
bioengineering group,
치료의 정수가
mainly
담긴 환을
manufactures
제조해서 내놓죠.
boluses that contain essences of treatment.
그 환을
The
그대로
boluses
섭취하거나
may be taken
물에
orally,
개어
ground
고의
with water
형태로
into a
바르거나
paste and applied directly to
혹은
the affected
더 묽게
area,
만들어
are dissolved in
붕대에
water,
물들인 후
soaked into
가마 치료할
bandages,
수도 있습니다.
and wrapped around the necessary area for treatment.
아하.
Ah,
그 소문들이
I guess
그렇게
rumors
만들어진
transform
거였나?
as they travel.
그런 거군요.
Oh, I see.
저는
I was just thinking about
치료법이라고
how they do
하시길래
things back at
그
the
K사가
K-Corp.
떠올라서요.
K사의 초점은
The focus of
상태의
K-Corp's
회복에 맞춰져
technology
있습니다.
is the reversal, a
본래의
recovery of
상태로
one's
돌아가는
conditions.
방향성이죠.
Returning to the original state is the keyword in their treatment.
8, 9의 뒷골목은
It is no
제조된
rare
환약을
sight to
가지고
find unique techniques and
거주민들이
technology
저마다
developed
발전시킨 비법
independently by
기술이
the
정착된
inhabitants of the
곳입니다.
back streets of District 8
피적용자의 개별
using the
상태에 맞춘
manufactured
치료가 아니라
boluses. Their
보유한 비법
treatments are
기술을
not
기반으로
individually
상태를
customized for
개선하는
each
방식에
patient.
초점을 맞추고
Instead,
있죠.
their focus is on selecting the appropriate technique from a myriad of choices to address the deficiencies in their statuses.
어떤 의미에서는
Perhaps one
변화나
could choose the
발전,
words transformation
더
or
어울릴 수
evolution
있겠군요.
as a more illustrative descriptor for their method of treatment.
그럼 저분들은
So,
저게 치료가 된
that's what counts
상태라는
as treated.
말씀인가요?
The crowd Sinclair was pointing at certainly appeared unhurt, as none of them were bleeding or walking with a limp, but many of them appeared dazed, staring blankly at nothing or scratching absentmindedly at their mutated parts.
아, 저분들은
They must be the
단골이시네요.
regulars. Unexpectedly, we found our answer not from Faust, but not from Merceau, but from Hung Lu. The regulars?
네,
Yes,
어릴 적에
I've
들은
heard of
적이
them as
있어요.
a child. People who've grown
의료원의
accustomed to
신비한
visiting
치료에
the clinics in
익숙해져서
search of their
시도 때도
mystical
없이 드나드는
treatments.
사람들, 단골이 된
The
사람들은
regulars might
다른
appear more
분들보다
intimidating
겉보기에는
than
더
most
강해
people at
보이지만
first glance,
점차
but
부작용이
apparently all the side
쌓여가다가
effects they've been
이상하게
stacking
변해버린다고
changes them in
하더라고요.
strange ways.
재계가 전혀
It
다른
is highly
시술을 다수
likely that
적용한다면
interoperation conflicts or
시술 간의
issues will
충돌이
arise when
발생할
applying highly
확률이 높을
disparate
수밖에
treatment
없다.
methods to a single body.
생명보험을 들지 않으신
At least
분들이
it's a cheaper
저렴하게
alternative for
이용하는
people who
경우도
didn't
많을
sign up for the
테니까요.
life insurance.
생명
You speak of
보험
life
말인가?
insurance.
네,
Yes,
그
life
보험
insurance.
특약에는
There's a
사망
special
시에
insurance
되살아난다는
option to bring the
조항도
client back to
포함되어
life upon the
있거든요.
event of their death. So, the irony isn't lost on me, but I thought resurrecting people was one of the head's taboos.
생명보험을 통해
The head
되살아나는
does not
것은
consider the revival
머리가
via
금기를
life
설정한
insurance to be
부활의
a
범위에
violation of their
해당하지 않습니다.
non-resurrection taboo. Wait. Technically, we're performing taboos then, reviving the sinners? Why did I not realize this or pick up on this?
온전한 부활이 아닌 풍화를 감안한 뇌 소생.
It is likely that, on a technical level, this revival is actually categorized as brain resuscitation as opposed to a full resurrection. Degradation of its functions considered, of course.
관리자님이 시계를 돌리는 것과 달리
Another fatal downside to this
생명보험은
technology is
뇌가
that,
온전하지
unlike the
않다면
manager's
되살아날 수
clock
없다는
winding, the
치명적인
subject cannot
약점이
be brought
있습니다.
back if their brain is destroyed.
거기에 뇌 안의 정보가
Also, there
전달되는
is a risk
과정에서
of significant
많은
losses
누락이
in the
발생하죠.
process of information transference.
누락.
Losses, huh?
그렇다면
So maybe some of their
거덜 중
mutations
연결체
could be more
외과는
than just the side effects of
치료의
these
부작용
treatments.
때문이 아닐 수도 있겠네요.
그럴 수도
Maybe,
있겠지만
but I heard it takes more than one or two
보통
revivals
한두
to
번의
change
복구
that
시술로
much.
저렇게 변하지는 않는다고 들어. 뒷골목에 사는 분들한테는
And since apparently
보험
people in the
갱신
back
비용이
streets could never
어마어마하다고
even
했으니까.
dream of paying consistent insurance renewal rates, so
만약 보험에
after
가입한
all,
분들이
who would sign up
모두
for
저렇게
insurance if
안타까운
using
모습이
its services
된다면
could reduce them to
아마
such
아무도
pitiful
보험에 들지
states?
않겠죠?
Yeah, they appear pathetic and pitiful to you rich bastards, don't they?
처지가 처량 곧 비슷한 처지가
You'll
될
soon be in
테니
the same boat as them,
너무
so save some
연민을
pity for
느끼진
yourself.
않았으면 좋겠군.
Identify
정체를
yourself.
밝혀라.
The stranger's voice cut through our discussion like a foreign instrument. We turned around to find a large group of people who were clearly up to no good.
그 상판을 보니
You must be the young
잘나신
master of the
가시
high
가문의
mighty
도련님이
Jia
맞는
family, eh?
모양이군.
I could tell just by looking at your pretty face.
풍루,
Your
아는
friends,
사람들이야?
Hongmu? No.
아니요.
I haven't had much chance to get
뒷골목
acquainted with
분들과는
people from
인연이
the back
없는
streets,
편이었던
so
터라
nope,
다
never met
처음
them
보는
before.
분들이네요.
안에서도
Of course you
밖에서도
haven't. Too busy living
신선노릇하시느라
large, playing
바쁘셨을
gods in a
테니
whole different world from us
우리 같은
plebs, huh?
놈들은 모르는 게 당연하. 뭐 상관없다.
Not that it matters. We're just here to take the thing you brought here for submission to the family hierarch evaluation.
가주
The
심사라니.
what evaluation?
뭔가 오해가 있는
Okay,
모양인데요.
there's clearly been a misunderstanding.
머릿수는
Quite a lot of
제법
them.
보이는데.
We're not off to a great start here, huh?
시작부터 참.
Man,
아니
actually, no.
떼거리로 몰려들어
It'd be a
두드려
violation of our
패는 건
office's core
우리
values to jump
사무소의
them like we're some
도리에
common
어긋나지.
thugs.
삼도끼
I,
사무소의
Shen Sen,
삼남,
third son of the
삼삼.
Triax office,
가시
challenge
가문의
Jia Bao
가보께
Yu of the
결투를
Jia family
신청한다.
to a duel.
방식은
Our wagers
승자가
will be that the
상대에게
winner
원하는
can take
것을
anything they
취하는
want from
것으로
the
하지.
loser.
결투요?
Wait, what do you mean a duel? I have heard tale that duels with the honorable fixers of the Sink Association branch announced their intent to duel by stating their affiliation and name instead of casting their gauntlets. And the pamphlet that young Ishmael had presented before me earlier presented the truth of the Triax office is indeed an office of the East, though they are indeed of a lesser quality. 'Tis a true, genuine, accurate declaration of a duel that we behold. Oh my god, her voice actress for that.
그러니까 그냥 1대1로 붙자는 거
So,
아니야?
it's just a fancy way of saying 1v1 me, let's go, isn't it? I mean, this guy doesn't look too tough. What do you think, Faust?
네,
Agreed.
홍무 씨가
This
패배할 정도의
individual does not seem to
실력자로는
possess any
보이지 않네요.
particularly exceptional skill that may pose difficulties for Hong Lu. I think it's going to be okay. I'll be back in a minute,
다녀올게요.
Dante.
단테님.
You sure this is okay? I don't think you're going to lose against him, but, you know, just in case.
괜찮아요.
No worries. I have some
결투라면
childhood experience with
어렸을 때
duels
10번
myself.
정도는
I've done about 10 of them, I think. Ha! So the rich boy's dabbled in some duels, has he? It's... I think
오해가
you
있는 것 같네요.
misunderstand.
하루에
I meant
10번이랍니다.
to say that I've done about 10 of them
아니다.
a day.
가끔
Oh,
할머니가
but
빼주시기도
grandmother sometimes
했으니
let me skip them, so it might have been
실제로는 조금
slightly
더
fewer than that on
적으려나요?
some days.
뭐라고?
What?
림버스
I,
컴퍼니
Hung Lu of Limbus Company. No.
아니, 가시 가문의
I,
부엌이
value of the Jia
결투를
family,
받아들인다.
accept this duel. Hung Lu stepped forward confidently as the opponent was processing what he just heard. For a moment, Hung Lu stood there in a stance that did not express even a hint of aggression, before curiously cocking his head to the side.
안 오시나요?
Sorry, are we waiting for something?
아,
Oh, so
먼저
I
들어오시면
always let the
된답니다.
opponent get the first
저는
2 moves
항상
in
두
duels.
수 무르고
Please,
시작했거든요.
don't hesitate.
몰라?
Let me? You little... Your cocky pride shall be your downfall.
니놈의 명줄을 재촉할 것이다.
The man who introduced himself as Shan-san leaped toward Hung Lu. Then, after about a minute... How is this happening? Sorry, I'm thinking of a movie with the Axe Gang. Unlike Shan-san, who was throwing punches and swings with boiling hot passion, Hung Lu was effortlessly gliding between his opponent's strikes like he was out on a picnic, as though this was but a leisurely stroll through a garden. Whenever Shan-san threw a powerful punch, Hung Lu redirected it to the side with ease, the fist only grazing his clothes. We were mesmerized by the feathery light movements of his hands and feet that effortlessly glided through the air, until, after one blinking you'll miss it moment, we realized that Shan-san was already face down on the ground, defeated. Young Hung Lu, hast thou been concealing thy full strength in our presence?
저는
Oh no,
항상
I wouldn't
최선을
say
다해
that.
싸웠다고
I always put
생각하는데요.
my all into every fight. Yet, to defeat this foe so soundly, to dance with such grace between his strikes is... 'Twas as though thou wert dueling someone whose skill may only measure against a child's.
하지만
But
이전에
most of
싸울
our
때는
fights happen in
싸우는
environments
지역도
with a lot of variables.
제각각이었고
We usually fight against enemies with all kinds of
심지어
unexpected
상대도
weapons and
예측이 안 되는
powers.
분들이었는걸요.
파회.
You read him.
내놈.
Already familiar with that
머저리의
fool's
기술을
moves?
이미 알고 있었나.
아,
Oh, yes.
네.
One of my
기모
BU
선생님
instructors
중에
used similar
비슷한 기술을
techniques as
쓰는
this
분이
gentleman
계셨거든요.
here.
여러분들도
Practice
매일같이
makes
해야 하는
perfect,
일은
and perfection makes an
노하우라는 게
expert,
생기시잖아요.
right?
비슷한 거랍니다.
Right. But
그거랑 이게
I'm not sure if that's entirely
같은
relevant
건가
here.
싶긴 한데. 아 그래서
Well, anyways,
결투에서 진
looks
것
to me that
같은데
he soundly kicked your behind in this
비켜주지 그래.
duel. Let us through, why don't you?
되도록
And preferably
지금 우리가
not do the
예상하는
thing I think you're
그렇고
about to
그런 짓은
do.
하지 않았으면 좋겠는데. 계약 사무소에 공증도 없었고 여기서 물러났다간 의뢰인이 가만히 있지 않겠지.
Oh wait,
어쩌라는 거냐? 때로 덤벼들어.
this duel wasn't overseen by a notary office anyway, and our employer is not going to let this failure slide if we just leave. Don't just sit there. Move your asses and jump them. Pathetic. I can kind of see how we're becoming experts at getting jumped.
노하우가 생기는 것 같기도 하고.
With the bitter cry of the defeated, his gang rushed toward us.
감상은 어떤가요?
어중간한 예술은 물어뜯어 고칠 수밖에.
sake.
들리세요? 한 쌍의 상황볼과 24개의 늑골이 자아내는 티비아의 멜로디가
임파스터.
그대는 어디까지 가고
이
있을지.
순간이 다 배웠네.
마지막으로 남기는 한
낮도 밤도 지나 숨이 닿도록 베어낼 것.
나쁘지 않아요. 영감이 떠올랐어요.
훌륭한 단말만이에요.
잠깐적인 대기에
예술적이네요.
This really isn't a great start, fellas. It's never easy, is it?
너무 화난데.
뭐 몸 좀
Hey,
덮였다는
at least we
점에서
get a nice
나쁘지
warm-up.
않았을지도
It wasn't all
모르겠네.
bad.
이게
I don't know. This seems more
큰
serious than our
문제인가요?
usual street brawls. Ishmael's right. They weren't your everyday thugs who pick fights with random people for no good reason. They were contracted by someone to specifically target and eliminate Hong Lu. And given how open they were about their intent, calling it a contract, it doesn't seem like whoever gave the contract was exactly going for subtlety. Then, maybe this is what Jia Shishin was talking about way back when she mentioned surviving as heirs?
누군진 모르겠지만
Whoever's behind this must have a
홍
bone to
씨에게
pick with Hong
원한이라도
Lu.
있는 것 같은데요.
Indeed. It
이런
seems that we
전투가 몇
must
차례 더
expect more
벌어질 수도
skirmishes
있다는
like
거군.
this going forward.
그래도 잘
Alas!
이겨냈다네.
Was this trial not readily overcome? Not
그게
the
문제가
point.
아니다.
Think on it a
잘
little more.
생각해 보도록.
It seems like they're assuming that Hong Lu's brought something here in order to participate in that family hierarchy evaluation. Then there's no reason to assume that we've seen the last of them. They're going to try again to take out the competition.
역시
A highly accurate
관리자님다운
assessment of the
정확한
situation by the
통찰입니다.
executive manager. I expected no less from someone of your genius.
오늘의 아침은 좀
Going for
뻔한
the
맛이
classics
있네,
of brown
오티스
nosing
씨.
today, Otis. Since when
잘한
was it
것을
brown
칭찬하는 것이
nosing to
언제부터
compliment a job
아첨이었지?
well done? Do you not
누구도 뭘
expect?
잘했을 때는
쓸데없는 잡담이
This inane conversation is
기다려주다가
most
목이
riveting,
빠지겠어.
but I would prefer some silence while we wait.
회사도
It seems that the company
이런
foresaw
마찰을
such difficulties.
예상했는지
They've sent you a support team to help
사람을
handle this
보냈더군.
issue. We heard voices coming from behind us, from where Virgilius pointed.
나 참.
My,
여전히 오래
you guys
걸리시는
still haven't learned how to
분들이시네요.
stick to the plan, have you? She's back!
원래 이야기된 장소도 아니고
It
갑자기
really
뒷골목으로
threw me off
호출해서
when I was told to
당황했지
meet you in
뭐예요.
some backstreets location, away from our agreed rendezvous point. A familiar voice. A voice we could not forget.
오랜만이에요, 여러분.
Been a while, everyone. It's Sod!
저도 있습니다.
Hi, I'm here too. We turned around to follow where the voice was coming from and recognized the two people we've been hoping to see again.
약지에 감긴 세 바퀴의 반지는 마에스트로가 되기 위해 인정받은 세 가지 작품을 뜻하죠. 비록 지금 제 작품이 만인의 신금을 울리지는 못하더라도
Sod?
그리고
And hey,
파일럿
pilot,
씨였나요?
right? You're...
당신도
왜들 그러시나요?
What's wrong?
귀신이라도
It's
본
like
것
you're all
같은
looking at a
표정이라고.
ghost. Pilot, didn't you tell me
Pilot?
that you shared my news with them the
저번에
last
내
time?
얘기를 했다고 하지 않았나요?
했습니다.
I did!
똑똑히
I sure
기억한다.
did, ma'am.
아,
Oh,
도대체,
yeah, he did.
살았.
The sinners each recovered from the initial shock of seeing them again. And soon, their faces began to bloom with relieved smiles.
뭐
Well,
여전해 보여서
good to see
좋네요,
that things
다들.
haven't changed much around here. Sod, we're so glad to see you're okay.
당신도
Tick-tock to you
여전히
too.
잘 째깍거리는
Good to
것
see your
같고요.
gears are turning just fine. Sod smiled with a familiar grin. She did not seem to have changed much since the last time we met. save for a few minor differences. Her outfit and her badge, for example.
분명 진급을
Last
했다고
I
들었던
recall,
것으로
you were
기억하는데.
promoted, yes? Allow me to
우선
congratulate
축하하지.
you. Yeah. Are the hints of melancholy hanging from her smile and flickering in her... Oh, are the hints of melancholy hanging from her smile and flickering in her eyes? Hey!
진급할 정도로
I am
능력을
merely
인정받은 것이
congratulating her
축하하는
on her
것인데.
promotion and offering a
문제라도
recognition
있나?
of her excellent accomplishments. I don't see what your problem is here.
알잖아.
But we all know the
그 진급이
meaning
뭘
that
의미하는지.
promotion carries.
아주 의미가
Indeed,
깊지.
and it is very
손에
profound.
피를 묻히지
After
않고
all,
이루어진
what
진급에
meaning is
의미가
there to a
있나?
promotion attained without spilling some blood? You're a real piece of work.
당신 참
반대로 묻지.
Let me ask you something then.
주변의
If
사내같이
everyone
민원
behaves
같은
like you
반응만
do
보이면
around her,
쉬쉬하면
tiptoeing around the facts,
저자는
keeping
누구에게
it
그나마의
hush-hush about
인정과
what
위로를
happened,
받겠나?
where she's going to get the bare minimum, the recognition and the consolation she deserves.
쉬쉬만
hush
했으면
would have been nice.
다행이죠.
I've even
동료의 목숨을 끌어다가 계급과
overheard
맞붙었다는
some of them
소리도
whisper that I'll let my partner die,
수근수근
just so I can snag a promotion.
그런 점에서는
So in that
고맙네요,
regard,
오티스 씨.
I appreciate that, Otis.
사실 저도
If we're being
엄밀히
technical,
말하면
I did die.
뇌만 빼고
except my
한번
brain was
죽었다가 살아난
intact.
거죠.
Not even K-Corp's regenerative
제 뇌가
ampules could have revived me
K사의
if it wasn't.
앰플러도 수복할 수 없었을 테니까요.
그럼
Then did Effie also?
에피에게 제일 먼저
Apparently, they
의체가
went
쑤셔
right for
넣어진
Effie's
쪽이
head when they stabbed him with the
머리
prosthetic,
쪽이었다고 하더라고요. 검시관이.
according to the coroner's autopsy. K-Corp ampules, life insurance. Neither of them can revive someone with a damaged brain. It is what it is. Anyways,
괜히
let's
오래간만에
not dwell
만나서
on the
우울한 소리는
depressing stuff.
그만하자고요. 일하러 왔으면 일을
We're here for
해야죠.
work. Let's get some
일
work
이야기로
done.
넘어가요.
So, let's talk about work,
Pilot?
okay? Pilot?
네.
Yes, ma'am.
그러니까
Well, let's see here.
제가 말입니다.
Coincidentally,
우연한 기회에
I happen to make
가시가문의
friends with a
관계자를
feller
알게
who has
됐습니다.
ties to the Jia
그래서
family,
데려왔습니다.
so I brought him over.
어이,
Hey,
아이,
is that everything?
그게 끝이야?
끝입니다.
Yes, sir. Briefing over. Just as everyone was reeling in stunned silence at the least informative, least helpful briefing we ever had the displeasure of sitting through, Ishmael was the first to catch herself. She looked up at Sod.
소드 씨,
Sod, can we
자세한
rely on you
설명을
for some
부탁드려도
elaboration
될까요?
here?
육하 원칙의
The
중요도를
briefing was a good
교육할
demonstration
필요성이
of the
느껴지는
necessity of
바람입니다.
educating the 5 W's and 1 H principle. Who, what, when, where, and why, and how.
돌아가면
Looks like we'll have a
이야기할 게
lot to
많겠네요.
discuss once we get
파일럿.
back. Pilot? Did I
저
do
뭔가
something wrong?
잘못한 겁니까?
Shh, shh. Pilot, buddy, just stop. You're digging yourself a deeper hole with every word.
거론할 테니까.
Gregor quickly leaned in to warn Pilot, but it was likely too late. A nigh unnoticeable crease had already formed between Sod's brows. Prior to commencing this high priority operation, it was
H사의 관계자를
necessary for us to
찾아야
find individuals with connections to H-Corp.
당연히 사전 관측과에
So we,
저희가
as the
투입되었고
preliminary observation
그중
unit, were put to the
누군가와
task,
접선에
and
성공했답니다.
we managed to establish a connection with an individual.
아,
Oh,
저희 가문의
someone from my
사람인가요?
family?
아니요.
No, we
사실
tried,
그쪽이 쉽지
but your
않았던
family
터라
proved to be a rather
시간을
difficult nut
낭비하던
to
와중에
crack. However,
파일럿이 기존과 다른
as we were
접근
wasting
방식으로
our precious
확보한
time with
인적
all of our
자원이에요.
leads, Pilot pursued an unconventional method to establish this connection.
그래서 칭찬도 많이
I really didn't hold back on
했는데
compliments then, and this is how you... So our collaborator is a
협력자는 함께
former
가시가문에서
employee of the
일했지만
Jia family.
현재는
After leaving
가문에서
the
나와
family, he now
숙박
runs
사업을
a
하고
lodging
있는 분입니다.
business.
그렇다면 가문
Then it
내부의
is likely
정쟁에서
he is far
멀어졌겠고
removed from the family politics.
우리에게 달려드는 자들과
Less
다르게
motivation for him to
확실한
attack us
보조가
due
될
to
것이고.
conflicting interests.
네.
Yes,
그럼에도
and
가문
according to
사람들에게
Pilot's report,
호의적이라고
he still regards the
파일럿에게
Jia
보고가
family
됐죠.
positively.
가문을 나섰으나
How can I
받은
not,
은혜가 있는데
considering the blessings
어찌
they have
그렇지
given me?
않겠소?
An unfamiliar voice butted into the conversation, as though to continue Sod's explanations.
보옥도련님의 친구분들을
I humbly
돕습니다.
present myself
소인
before the fellowship of
경도랍니다.
young Master Baoyu. Please call me Qingtao. He greeted us in a most polite fashion before bringing his hands together in an odd motion. Oh, is this how people greet each other here?
폭언지례라고
Yep,
한답니다.
it's called the
저희에게 저기가
Baoshan
없음을
gesture.
예를 갖추어 보여주는 거죠.
Bringing fist and palm together to express respect and peace toward the receiver. Aha! Knights greet one another by shaking their hands for the self-same purpose. Forsooth, thou art indeed one possessed of a chivalrous spirit.
과연
Hola!
도련님의 일행분들이 어떤 분이실까 걱정했는데 서부의 지식에 능통한
That's a
분들이었군요.
surprise. Ah, indeed. Much did I worry about the qualities the people young master has surrounded himself with, but I see that he is in company of those wise in the ways of the West.
소인의
I
미친한 지식에
prostrate myself before
자그마한
the
물기를
vast breadth of
터주시니
your knowledge.
감복할
What grand
따름입니다.
generosity it is to open ajar the waterways of wisdom to quench my barren lands. That's an expression. Something feels familiar about this.
아니야. 요새는
Nah,
좀더
she's
간결한
been getting less
방식이지.
and less verbose with
저 사람은
bootlicking these
너무 많이
days.
화려하잖아.
Not like this guy for sure. I like toned down Don Quixote. It's easier for me. That's true. He's kind of like, how should I put this? A bit much?
두 분
What are you
대체
guys
무슨
talking
말씀을
about?
하시는 건가요? 시계가 똑딱이는
Communicating
소리만으로도
only by the sound of ticking
소인
clock.
이미 알고
This
있는
is something I had already
사실이었으나
known ahead of time yet.
일이 눈앞에서
What a
보니
most
참으로
curious exchange to behold in person.
신통방통하군요.
Brief this
짧은
journey may
여로지만
be, yet I shall
심심할
find
일은
myself
없을 것
thoroughly
같소이다.
entertained in its entirety.
뭔가 매기는 맛이
Maybe
있는
it's a
건
subtle
좀
sprinkle of
비슷하달까?
disrespect that reminds you of the usual flavor.
설마
Wait, is
지금
this about
내
me?
이야기를 하는 거냐,
You
니놈은?
dare! Was all that bootlicking she did supposed to be a source of pride for her or something? Hoda shook her head with clear distaste and strode towards me.
비슷하다니.
We are nothing like
오해십니다,
executive
관리자님.
manager.
저는
Never have I once said
가득한
such
쓰레기
empty
빠진 칭찬을
flattery
한
in
적이
your
단 한
presence,
번도.
filled with nothing but hot air and superlatives.
자세한 안내는 그쪽에서 해주실
I'll
거예요.
leave the guidance of these
그럼
factories to him.
저희는
Well, looks like this is where... Sod fell silent, her eyes lingering on Virgilius, who stood somewhat apart from the rest of us.
드디어 만나 뵙게 되네요.
So I finally get to meet the
붉은
red gaze
시선이요.
in the flesh. I've been looking
그렇게나
forward to
뵙고
this day for a
싶었는데.
long time.
에피도
Effie would have loved to be here.
과장님.
Manager. Virgilius seemed to sense her lingering gaze and walked toward us after nodding slightly in her direction.
소득 과장,
Manager Sod.
이렇게 오래 잡혀
Let's
있을
not
이유는
make this
없지
any longer than
않나.
it has to be.
그쪽의 일을
I'm not
돕는
happy to be
것도
helping you
개의치
with your
않는 일인데
businesses. I'd
빨리
much rather put this
치우고 싶을
behind me as
뿐이다만.
soon as possible.
감격스러운 첫
Oh, please.
협업인데
It's our historic
시간을
first
조금만 더
collaborative operation,
써주시죠.
isn't it? Can't you spare a little more time with us?
일을
The guide
돕는다고?
buds actually doing
길잡이
something?
양반이?
That guy?
네, 아쉽게도 이번엔
Unfortunately,
여러분이 아니라
LCC has our own
붉은
business to take care of
시선께서
today, so I
LCC의
won't be
업무를
accompanying the
저희와
LCB
함께
this time.
처리하기로
And the Red
예정되어서요.
Gaze will be helping us out to get it done.
내 피 타고 다녀올
Taking
거야.
Mephi there.
그럼
아쉬운 게 아닌가?
Maybe it's not that unfortunate. Now I think
생각해보면
about it.
여러분과
I
함께
feel like
했던
every mission with
임무는
the LCB has always been an uphill battle to get anything done.
그때는
Well,
말이야.
you see, back then we were
언제나
just
그랬듯
messing with you.
농담이랍니다.
I'm sure we'll have another
기회가
chance to
있으면
work
또
together
함께
again.
일하겠죠.
과장님, 저희 이제
Boss,
시간이
we don't got much
안
time.
남다.
아니, 가기
Wait,
전에
before you go,
설명이 한
I think
번쯤
you owe us some
필요하지 않나요?
explanation, Virgilius.
씨.
I will leave the
자세한
details to
건
Miss Faust. I am
파우스트
quite
씨에게
busy.
맡기지.
그렇게 하죠.
Very well. Virgilius turned around and left toward Mephistopheles with an oddly disgruntled expression.
또 언젠가 봐요.
Well then, I'll see you around. The
다음에는
next time,
저도
I'll
한
show
사람 몫을
y'all.
한다는 걸
I'll show you
보여드릴
that
겁니다.
I can carry my own weight.
저번에는
You know,
너무
oh boy,
불쌍한
last time we
상황이었어서.
met I really was so darn pathetic.
파일럿,
Pilot,
그런 건 말보다 행동으로
competence is shown
보여주는
through
게
action,
더
not
멋진
words.
법이랍니다.
Sod and Pilot gave us a light nod before following Virgilius. Some sinners opened their mouths to speak, hesitated, then closed them again. We let them go without a word. So when am I becoming a voice actor? Never. Never. I don't think I could do it. I'm not consistent enough. Perhaps we didn't know what we could say to not make this an awkward farewell.
그럼 모시도록
Very well.
하겠습니다.
Please, this way. Or maybe we're simply mindful of this guy who is responsible for the quality of our stay. Seems dubious to me. No, don't. That's mine. Artemis, bad cat.
엄중한 심사 부탁드립니다.
Deep resentment ought to be washed away. For when the far one comes, betwixt the burnt doors shall a star fall astray.
이쪽으로 가는 게 맞나요?
Are you sure we're going the right way?
노래도 들리고.
I don't like the sound of these weird songs.
가도에는 도련님을
The
노리는
main
자가
streets are most likely
지천이니
teeming with those seeking
아무래도
to bring
평범한
harm
길로
to the young
달릴 수는
master.
없는 법이죠.
We must venture an alternative path. Like you said, there weren't any skirmishes once we made it deeper into the dark alleyways. The lack of foot traffic would normally be pretty unsettling, but I guess that's what we needed at this moment.
그리고 저건
As for the song,
뒷골목에선 몇 개월 전부터 돌고
it's a song
있는
that's become
노래입니다.
rather popular in the back streets in the recent months. The lyrics are pretty
유명한 노래치곤 가사가 좀
ominous for a popular song.
으스스한데.
어느 날부터인가
It is a song that spread
사람들이
through
하나둘
word of mouth.
부르기
It sings of
시작했는데
how the annihilated Kong family.
멸문한 공가에서 여기서
This is not the
말하기는
place to
잠깐
discuss such
좋지 않군요.
matters.
기회가 되면
I will share the
말씀드리겠습니다.
tale in a more appropriate setting later, should we come across it.
그런 노래도 있었군요.
Didn't know there was a song like that.
홍루 씨도
This is the
처음
first time you've
들어보는
heard of it too,
노래인가요?
Hong Lu.
귀하게 자란
He's a
도련님이면
posh git
뒷골목은
from a
처음
posh
와봤을
family.
테니까.
I doubt he's ever
이런
set his
노래도
precious
처음인
feet in the
거겠지?
back streets, so it's no wonder he's never heard anything like it.
뒷골목에 처음 와본
I've
건
been to the back
아니지만
streets before,
히스클리프 씨의
but
말도
Heathcliff
틀린 건
isn't
아니에요.
wrong.
저는 대부분의
But it's been
시간을
most of my time in my
제
room.
방에서 보냈으니까요.
그건
That is
도련님께서
precisely because you were the
그만큼
most
귀한
treasured one of
분이시기
them all,
때문이지
young master.
않습니까? 가장 비싸고
Much like how the
반짝이는
jade
옥을
of the greatest worth
본체
is to be
가장
cherished,
깊은 곳,
prized,
아무도
and hidden in
닿지
the
않는 곳에
deepest depths of
숨겨둔
one's
것처럼
coffers where
말이지요.
none shall reach.
내가
I'm
저
like
정도라고.
him?
최근에는
To a lesser degree,
했어.
particularly as of late. So that guy used to work for the Jia family, huh? Do you know him, Hong Lu?
네?
Young master?
도련님?
Is there something on my
어찌
face?
얼굴을 그리 살피시는지?
Hong Lu stopped himself as though a thought flashed in his head and glanced quietly in my direction. Then,
아무것도
nothing.
아니에요.
shall we continue
저희는
walking down
계속
this
이쪽으로
road?
걸으면 될까요?
그러합니다.
Indeed,
소위
humble as
이
I may
근방의
be,
지리에는
I am very well
발통하니
versed in the roads of this
걱정치
area.
마시게.
Hong Lu shook his head at me as he casually changed the subject. It was as though he was trying to hide something we know from Xingtao. Should we be suspicious of something? He is a
조심해서 나쁠 건
collaborator,
없겠죠.
but only a temporary
협력자라고
one.
하지만
A degree of
음식이니까요.
caution would be advisable.
파일럿이라는 놈이
Given
말하는 꼴을
Pilot's
봐서
clear inexperience and
충분히
naivety,
의심해야 할 필요는
we would do
있겠지.
well to remain suspicious of this character. Faust and Otis approached me as Hong Lu was nodding along and chatting amicably with our guide. Well, looking back at our journey so far, I think we learned our lesson about blindly trusting every collaborator we come across. With this growing mistrust in mind, I slowly made my distance from the guide before asking Faust the burning question. So, what was that back there about? So, what was that about back there with Virgilius? Something about him going off to help them out?
워더링 하이츠에서
The
있었던 일에
consequences of his
후속
actions at
조치입니다.
Wuthering Heights. Oh.
사측과 계약했던
His
중대한
actions were a
사항을
violation
위반했으니
of one of the more
그에
important
대한
items in
책임을
his
지는
contract
중이라고
with the company.
보시면 되겠군요.
He is simply taking responsibility for the breach of contract. I think back to the incident at the manor. It feels like such a long time ago now. Well, That's kind of a bummer. He really helped us out of a pickle.
뭐?
What? That's what they're dragging him away for?
귀빈분들께서
Is
무슨
there a
일이라도
problem, honored
있으신지.
guests?
아무것도 아니에요.
It's
그치,
nothing,
로슈?
nothing at all. No problem. No problemo, right, Ryoshu?
뭐
Shut up, idiot.
덜 떨어진 것.
메르소?
Marceau,
우리 혜수가 좀
can you
피곤한
carry
것
Heath
같은데
for a little
받아줄
bit?
수 있지?
He's dead tired.
문제 없다.
It will be done. Heathcliff, punched in the gut by the hilt of Ryoshu's sword, fell forward right onto Marceau's welcoming shoulder. Rhodia?
나는
You know the kind of person I hate the most? The kind of dull people who can't read the room?
단테도 그렇지?
Don't you feel the same way, Dante? Yep. I nodded enthusiastically, as something seemed to imply that she wasn't really asking me a question. I don't think she was about to punch my lights out, but...
이번 일은
Rodion
로제
and
씨와
Ryoshu
루슈 씨의
judged
판단이
correctly
옳습니다.
this time. Classified
후회자에게
company information
회사의
must not be
기밀안건을
discussed
들리게
in
할
the
수는
presence of an
없으니까요.
outsider.
생각해보면
Reminds me of the time he got knocked out cold for a while because he kept asking questions without raising his hands. This guy just doesn't
눈치가
learn,
늘지를
huh?
않네요.
You successfully preserved the secrecy of classified information without spilling blood. I applaud this policy. I did good, didn't I? I'm just not a fan of how they're treating Heathcliff like dirt now.
별일이 아니라면 다행입니다만.
If it is no problemo, as you say, then that is well indeed.
송구스럽게도
Yet,
곧
I worry that it
별일이
appears that the
벌어질
problem
것
has
같아
found us
걱정이기도
anyway.
합니다.
I stopped and looked around, realizing that we were surrounded by a group of people wielding various weapons in their hands. What, happened to finding us a safer path?
습격은 없다면서. 꽤 많은 습격은
It's likely
피해수리라
that my guidance has indeed
생각합니다만
given us a much safer
몇몇
path
눈치
away
빠른
from the
자들이
more
꼬리를
obvious
밟은 건
skirmishes. However, to
통쾌스럽지만
my
어쩔 수
great
없겠죠.
regret, it appears that the more observant of our enemies have tracked us here.
젠장.
Damn it! Then what are
그걸
you even
방지하는
here
게
for?
니놈의 협력을
Isn't it your
구하는 거
job to
아니었나?
prevent this exact scenario?
잘잘못은
Let's
조금
leave the
이따가
finger pointing for
따지죠.
later. We're gonna have to
우선
take them all down.
빠짐없이 쓰러뜨리는 게 우선일 것 같아요.
우리가 여기
They must
있다는
not be
사실,
allowed to disseminate
저들이
their
외부에
current
퍼뜨리지
location.
않게 해야 한다.
맞아.
Exactly.
근데 말이야, 경도 씨.
Where are you sneaking off to,
지금
Mr.
수동식으로
Qingtao?
어디 가는 거야?
소인이
I
전투에는
must
영
regrettably
소질이
and
없어
humbly say
잠시
that
뒤로
my talents
물러나려
are more
합니다.
terribly lacking,
그래도
so I intend to
부녀님과
become
기분분들이
scarce for a moment.
강하시니
Yet I have the utmost faith in the strength of our young master and the honored guest in overcoming this adversity, so... Qingtao was already standing so far away from the front lines that he was practically hiding behind me. Faust, anything you could tell us about these enemies?
네.
No.
하지만
But
계절
a
샤프트를
consultation with
거치지
the
않아도
Jesselchaft seems
가족과
unnecessary
협상이
if we're
아직
to
없다는 걸
determine
알
whether
것 같군요.
negotiating with them is an option.
옵니다.
They're coming. Marceau, wake Heathcliff up and set him down.
알겠습니다.
It will be done. So, some combat.
그려낸 대로.
Perfect. The combat music of this one's real nice. Okay, that's fine.
영감이 떠올랐다.
다음은 당신을 소재로 써보고 싶습니다.
Go Ryoshu.
그려낸 대로.
셋째.
알선해 주십시오.
새로운
나쁘지 않아요.
무함음중
Level 3. Do this. That. Do it this way.
양반이 떠올랐어.
다음엔
훌륭한
당신을
반말.
소재로 써보고 싶습니다.
이 순간이 닿도록 베어내리라. 낮도 밤도 지우고 숨이 닿도록 베어낼 것. 베어냈어.
Ah, almost killed it.
그게 틀리셨나요?
보여드려야겠군요. 왜냐하면 예술을.
And there was only 2. Oh yeah, he didn't get the axe, so he didn't get his stuff.
감상은 어떤가요?
앞으로 둘. 그 슬픈 눈동역을 앞으로 하나.
마비 교환.
저희 영감을
예술적이네요.
일깨워 주시는군요.
Just some mooks.
당장 덤벼드는 자들.
Hostiles in the
이것으로
immediate
마무리 된 것
vicinity have been
같다.
eliminated. Our collaborator, who'd been hiding far from the battle, quickly ran up to our side as soon as the fight ended.
도련님,
Are you
몸은
unhurt, young master?
괜찮으십니까?
그럼요.
Yep, I'm
말짱하답니다.
totally fine.
과연
Of course,
귀빈분들도
our honored
뛰어나신
guests'
무공을
martial
지니고
skills were all
계시지만
exceptionally brilliant,
그중에서도
but,
도련님의
young
거동이
master,
가장
your light was the
빛나셨습니다.
brightest even among the incandescent.
소인
This humble
하늘
servant
금치
could not hold
못했습니다.
back his tears at this
도련님께서
wondrous sight.
이렇게나 무예를
To witness such
단련하셨을 줄이야.
excellent martial arts from none other than young master himself. What an unexpected surprise.
가시 가문 사람들은 어릴
But don't the
적부터
children of the Jia family undergo all kinds of
어마어마한
strict
훈련을
training
한다면서요.
regimens from childhood?
그야
It was simply
가문을
my
떠나신
assumption that
이후로는
young master had
수련하지
ceased his
않으셨을
trainings
수
once he
있다고
departed the family.
생각했으니
그런데
Anyways,
저희가
how
여기
do you
있는
think
건
they tracked us
어떻게
down
알아차린
anyway?
걸까요?
아, 그건
Ah,
말입니다만
about that.
아무래도
It appears that we
귀를
weren't
밟힌 게
exactly
아닌 것
tracked
같습니다.
it down.
본래 이
Perhaps it
귓골목의
may be that the
털을 잡은
ilk who
이들이
lurk in these parts of the
도련님의
back streets
정원을 알아채고
recognize the
덤벼든
young
것이
master's
아닐까 하는
venerable
생각이 듭니다.
countenance.
제
I don't
얼굴이
think my face is
그렇게까지
that
잘 알려져
well
있진
known.
않을 것 같은데요.
가주
The
선발의
family
기일이 얼마
hierarch
남지 않은
evaluations are
지금
9.
가문
Every soul
어르신들의
living in
사랑을
Hongyuan
한몸에
must
받는
know the
도련님의
face of the young
얼굴을
master
모르는
who's
이가
loved by
이
every elder of
공헌받을
the
게 있을
family.
리가 없지 않습니까? 필시
It must
귀한
be
것을
that they are
가지고
under
있을
the
것이라
assumption that
생각해
you are
습격하는
carrying
것이
something
되죠.
of great value. Family hierarch. Huh. Didn't Jia Shishun say something about heirs back then?
다들 잘못
They all
짚으셨네요.
assumed wrong then.
저는
I didn't bring
어르신들이
anything
원하는
precious
귀한
that
것은
the elders might be
하나도
looking
가지고 오지
for.
않았거든요.
도련님은
Young master,
역시
even now?
여전히
저는 그런 것에
I
도통
just couldn't
관심이
care less
없어서요.
about it. That's all.
다른 형제 자매들이
Besides, many of
저보다
my
훨씬
siblings are
가죽에
much better fit
걸맞기도
to be the
하고요.
family hierarch than I am. Huh?
그럴 수-
That's
아니
well. That
그것은
is indeed a
참으로
relief.
다행이군요.
다행인 것이요.
A relief, is it?
그야
Well,
가주
but
선발에
of course,
참가하는
it
건
is a highly
상당히
dangerous
위험한
endeavor to
일이니
partake in the hierarch
아무래도
evaluations.
참가하지 않으시는
So
편이
it is of
마음이
great relief
놓이지
to know that young
않겠소이까?
master is not putting himself in unnecessary danger. I guess that could be a relief, sort of. Phew. Now that we took them all down, there shouldn't be any more on the way, right?
괜찮겠지?
Cracker is feeling like such an old man.
불안하게
Greg,
그런 말은
Can
왜
we
하는
not
거야?
jinx ourselves
그래?
for 1 second? Why are you laughing, Ryoshu? No, I'm worried.
뭔가 불안한데요.
걱정 마시죠.
Please,
더
do not
으슥한
concern
길로
yourselves
갈 테니
any
도착
further.
전까진
We'll
편히 갈수 있을
we'll
것이야.
take a more clandestine path. I guarantee a safe and easy passage to our destination.
여전히 이해가 안 가는 거.
I still have a hard time
이렇게
buying that.
습격받기 좋은 곳이
The lay of this place would
오히려 적이
constitute a
없는
perfect
곳이라고?
place to set up an ambush in most places. Yet you claim this to be the safer path.
홍원의 구조라는 것이
Yet I
다른
must ask
지역과는
you to
사뭇
place your
다르게
faith in this humble servant, for Hongyuan is not like most places. Fine. For now. Otis shut her eyes for a moment, out of retorts, then turned to look at Ishmael.
어이, 이스마엘.
Hey, Ishmael.
분명히
You
또
must have a
어딘가에서
pamphlet of this place
이곳에
handy, don't
팜플렛을
you?
손에 넣었겠지?
No way. You're actually going to read it.
그건 말고 질문.
Why else would I ask? No, I mean, how could I not be caught off guard after almost a whole year of getting brushed off by everyone every time I plead with them to read the damn pamphlets? Like hell, did no one think to... I will find my own intel if you're just going to ramble on and on with your grievances. Okay, fine. Here it is. Otis opened the pamphlet and began intently glaring at its texts, as though she didn't want to miss even the smallest detail of information in there. Suspicion clear on her knitted brows. Methinks our guide is going to betray us, just like everyone before. $108. I'm gonna have so many of this. Combat and story. How much time we got? It's about a fair chunk of time.
저 살점을 찢으면 더 붉게 칠해지겠지?
We were on a desperate run, all the while fighting off hordes upon hordes of enemies. Hoy! What happened to safe and easy passage? Explain this shite!
도련님의 빛나는 얼굴을
It appears that the young master's radiant countenance was made known. I thought we were finding a more clandestine passage. How come we're getting jumped by even more enemies? As I have said, the young master's radiant at least tried to give a little variation to your excuses. I cannot so easily say that he's being untruthful, given the disjointed allegiance of the enemies attacking us. Otis played with the pamphlet in her hand, clearly frustrated but unable to establish anything concrete.
어딘가에 소속되지도
For
않은
people without a
사람들이
clear allegiance to attack a
가시가
member of
없는
the Jia
일원을
family.
요즘
Looks like everyone in the
뒷골목분들은
back streets has been
굉장히
getting pretty
과감해지셨네요.
plucky while I was away.
예전에는
Back then, I
지나갈
couldn't
때마다
even catch a
엎드려
glimpse of their
계셔서
faces.
얼굴 보기도
They'd all be on
힘들었는데
their hands and knees whenever we walked
다행이네요.
past. Ah, what a wonderful change. Oi! Shove that wonderful... Oh, wait, no, he said oi. Oh, shove that wonderful change up your arse, you bloody loon. How much longer till we get there?
얼마 지나지 않아
My
객전에
cousin
도착할
is
테니
near. Calm your
괜찮습니다.
worries. Our guide seems oddly calmer now than he did at the beginning of this journey. Did he really get numbed to all the violence that fast, or...
그러고 보니 아까부터
Speaking of which, what's a 객전?
일종의
It's a term commonly used to refer to taverns, inns, or equivalent places of lodging in this region.
숙박.
Lodging, huh?
그럼 호텔?
Like a hotel?
네, 좋은
It's gotta
곳이겠네.
be pretty fancy then, huh? Do they serve like complimentary snacks and drinks like the warp train?
그것까진 모르겠지만
Not sure about that, but it seems like Hessians also serve alcohol and food alongside their lodging
식사는 할
services.
수 있을지도 모르겠네요.
Maybe we can get a meal in there.
거기에서는
And
아우,
hopefully we
이렇게
won't be
덤벼드는
attacked
놈들은
there
없는
like
거야?
this.
간의 불같이
Residential non-aggression
당연히
taboo.
주거지
Any
내부에서의
mutual
싸움은
acts of violence inside a
공원에서도
residential
이
building
구역,
is, within
이
this particular
층계만의
area and floor
금기죠.
Hongyuan, a taboo.
금기.
A taboo. We may
그나마
rest easy within then.
한시럽겠구려.
I saw Faust's eyebrows slightly twitch, as though she had just heard the most ridiculous thing. But I guess I'll ask her about it later.
나참
Oh,
가주인지
man.
당주인지
If it's for some kind of family
선발할 거라면
hierarchy
그때는
or
치고받고 할
family head
것이지.
selection contest, why couldn't they save all this fighting until then?
그때가 되면
Because it would be too
늦으니까요.
late.
Hmm?
Late how?
네.
Every
가족
hierarch
후보라면
candidate must have brought
모두
incredibly
대단히
precious
귀중한 걸
treasures
가져왔을
with them.
거예요. 자신이 가져온
It would be
게
nice if they
제일
believed that
귀중하다고
their own
믿는다면
treasure is the most
좋겠지만
precious of them all, but
확실한 건
everyone's going to
다른
try to
후보가
take
가져온
each
걸
other's
빼앗는
just to be
거네요.
sure. I see.
자기보다 더 귀중한 걸
Just in case someone else
가져왔을
brought
수도
something even
있으니까요.
better than their own.
하는 김에
And
목숨도 빼앗아
might as
두면
well kill them
더
too, for
편하다고
the sake of
생각하고 있을
convenience.
테죠.
Is that how the folks in your family
당신
think?
가문은
What kind of
항상
line of thinking is
그런 논리로
that?
굴러가는 거야?
But
다른
other
집안도
families didn't
그게
seem too
다른 것
different
같진
from mine.
않던걸요?
Damn.
장소 중에 소인이 끼어드는 듯하여
Deepest apologies for intruding upon this
송구스럽습니다만
most enthralling conversation. However,
슬슬 걸음을 빨리
we
하지
may be
않으면
inviting even further trouble
곤란해지실
by
것
dallying
같습니다.
here. With that, the guide pulled out a watch to check the time.
바깥은 곧
It will be
밤이 올 것이.
nighttime soon. I guess it's gonna be worse.
그려낸 대로
들리세요? 한 쌍의 상황골과 24개의 늑골이 자아내는 티비아의 멜로디가
We're about a third because I saw I have rewards waiting for me.
임파스터.
And our guide for this area does look a little familiar. I think I've seen a couple snippets of this one. This Intervalo. It feels familiar.
좀 긁혔어?
이 순간이 다
But I paid very little attention. I had no idea what was going on.
원망도 얕아지나. 그려낸 대로 낮도 밤도 지나 숨이 닿도록 베어냈군.
예술적이네요.
소바.
어중간한 예술은 물어뜯어 고칠 수밖에.
훌륭한 단말.
이게 심장이.
다음엔 당신을 소재로 써보고 싶습니다.
낮도 밤도 지나 숨이 닿도록 베어냈군.
무음ung 중. 자, 도착했습니다.
Now, here we are.
여긴가요?
Is this the place? After running through alleyway after alleyway, after turning corner after corner, we finally came across the site of several small buildings tightly built next to one another. At the center of them was a building lit with red lamps adorned with a door plate with complicated looking letters scribbled over it.
생각보다
This is
허름한데?
shoddier than I expected.
당신네 두려움이
Hey,
묻기엔
isn't this place a bit
허접한
too
거 아니야?
trashy to house your precious young master?
그쪽은 다른
That
건물입니다.
is not our building.
귀빈 여러분들을
Please look
모실
this way to
장소는
see where our
바로
honored guests will be
이곳이지요.
staying for the night.
역시 그렇지.
I knew it! I heard so much from Hangmu about all the splendor, all the... Huh? We followed Xingtao's finger and arrived at a small warehouse of sorts, its exterior painted in black. That looks smaller than even Mephistopheles. Can we all even fit in there?
저기.
Hey!
저
Isn't that place too
건물은
trashy for your
당신의
young
두려움이
master?
아니라
Let alone
우리가
us?
묻기에도 좀 허접하지 않아?
이곳은 제가
This is the
관리하는
nearest
객장
cousin
중
we could
가장
afford to stay in,
가까운
at least among the
곳입니다만
ones that I manage.
뒷골목에 있다 보니
Yet its location in
아무래도
the back streets
부족함이
heavily
많습니다.
limits the level of decency you can afford.
이것밖에 준비하지
My
못해
deepest and sincerest
송구합니다,
apologies, young
도련님.
master.
부족할 때도 있는
Don't
거죠.
worry. We can't
그래도
always
하루
sleep in
묵기엔
decent places.
문제 없어 보이는
It
거예요.
looks just fine for an overnight stay to me.
제정신인가요?
Are you nuts?
전부
Can
들어갈
that
수
thing even
있는지도
fit all of
확실하지
us in
않은데.
there?
중앙구역 본가에 있는
Much did I
조금 더
wish
좋은
to guide
장소에
the honored guests
귀빈분을
to the
모시고
family mansion in
싶었지만
the central zone.
아무래도 곧
However,
그
at the
시간이
time...
허,
Oh.
청수의
sweeping
물결을
wave.
말하는 건가?
Doesn't that start at 3:13 in the morning? I feel like we've got plenty of time to get there.
그러게요.
Exactly.
이 정도
Don't we have more than enough
시간이면
time to get to the
본가가
family
있다는
mansion?
곳까지 갈 수 있지 않나요? H치사 관광 안내
According to the
책자에
H-Corp
따르면
travel guide, the central area is
여기서
only like an hour away
중앙구역까지는
from
한
here.
시간이면 갈 수 있다고.
귀빈께서는
Has the honored
타고에
guest
걸어만
traveled
적이
to District
있을까?
8 before? Well,
아니요.
no.
직접 와보는
This is
건
my first time
이번이
here,
처음이죠.
but
헌데 직접
though one
겪지도
must
않은
ask how the
이곳의
honored
사정을
guest could claim to have the
어찌
full
책자
understanding
하나로
of a
논할 수
place merely
있는지.
by flipping through a book when she hasn't had to contend with it in person.
헤아릴 수 없을 정도로
Innumerable,
빽빽하고
unpredictable
무수한
changes
건물들에서
await in this teeming jungle
주기적으로
of
이동하는
buildings.
건물로
The
인해
ever-shifting
시시각각 바뀌는
structures,
길,
the constantly
거기에
changing past,
이지를 잃은
ambushes
뒷골목
from
조직이나
foolish yet
사무소의
vicious syndicates
무차별적인
are
습격까지.
even offices of the back streets. Oh, we are beset by danger from all sides. Such bold,
이곳의
flippant
현상을
approach
쉬이
to predicting the
예측하려드는
phenomena
건
of this place is to
반명을
court
재촉합니다.
death. Even a
이는
toddler must
상속동자로
know
다
that.
아는 일일 테죠. 식견의
One
짧음에
fails to disguise
소인은
his utter
퉁퉁이
sorrow at the
금하지
inadequacy of her
못하겠습니다.
wisdom. This is just me. Are we all thinking back to Ishmael back at the Great Lake?
조용히 하세요.
Zip it, Dante.
하지만 책자에
What
적혀
if the
있다는 건
guidebook lists a
이론상
path?
가능하다는
Does
말이지
it not
않나?
imply that it is technically possible to reach there in time? Otis suddenly took a step forward. In her hand was the H-Corp travel pamphlet that Ishmael was talking about.
길 안내조차 제대로 하지
I have
못한 네
faith that
녀석과
if our
다르게
executive manager would lead us in your
관리자님께서 우리를
directionally
이끈다면
challenged
밤이
stead,
찾아오기
they would
전에
be able
도달할
to
수
lead
있다고
us to our
생각된다.
destination before night falls. Me?
아무래도
This does not
합의된
appear to
적
have been
없는
discussed
생각 같소만.
beforehand.
좋소.
Very
기쁜
well.
없이
Allow me to speak
말씀드리리다.
freely without frills.
소인의 본분은
My responsibility
부르님과
is to bring the
귀빈분들을
honored guests to the
중앙구역까지
central
안내하는
zone
것.
and to ensure the young
부르님의
master's
안전이
safety.
국피라는 것이 무리에서
It is
돌파한다면
indeed technically
예,
possible to reach the
가능하죠.
family mansion before the
뒷골목에
night in the
밤이
back
찾아오기
streets
전에
commences.
본가로 가는 것이 불가능한 것은
Technically.
아닐 겁니다. 하지만
Yet,
그
not even
과정에서
one iota of
부르님께
danger to
위험이
young
발생할
master
수
shall be
있다면
permitted.
어불성설.
The mission that has been so
소인이 맡은
graciously
임무의 목표는
bestowed upon
부르님을
this humble
빠르게
servant
안내하는 것이
is not
아닌
to guide the young
안전하게
master
안내하는
with
것
haste,
아니겠습니까?
but to guide him with utmost safety. Oh.
무릇
It is
계획은
said that
목표를
those
중요시해야
engaging in
합니다.
strategies and
부르님의
plans must
안전을
remain
위협하는
wary
무릎에
of losing
습격이
sight of their
언제까지
purpose.
계속될지 알 수
To
없는
suddenly
지금
forge on toward the
더 길을
family
나아가는
mansion in
것은
lieu of necessary
불말
intel to
전부라
see when these
판단했습니다.
mobs of assailants would end is to wrongly prioritize the journey over the destination. You. Oh, you.
이 녀석 감탄스럽다.
Wonderful. Truly
가족의 일부가 된
impressive.
자로서
You have all the
가족의
qualities
알고서는
of
모두
someone I would
지키고
trust
있다.
with my life, even devising a
보필할 때를
stratagem.
진정 위한다면
This
역시
is the
그런
most
태도가 옳지.
the most fitting attitude for those who genuinely wish the best for those they serve.
거기서 동조해버리면
Really?
어쩌자는 건가요?
You're just gonna start going along with him all of a sudden?
내가 오해가 깊었고
I have misunderstood your intentions, truly.
아까는
They
자네의 몇몇
sparked my
언질에 대해
ire by comparing some of
저것들이
your
나와 비슷하다
choice
말하는 것은
words with my
처음엔
very
부하가
own.
치밀었지만 자네는
Yet now,
그저
my eyes have been
진정을
opened to the
다할
honest
뿐이었군.
loyalty that lies within your heart. This
이
humble
진정을
servant did not
이해해주는 분이
imagine
있을
even
줄은
in his
몰랐소이다.
wildest dreams that there would be someone who
도련님께서도
understands
신우를 고르는
the
눈이
fathoms of his
훌륭히
loyalty.
성장한 것 같아
It seems that
소인에게
young master has
안심했습니다.
certainly gained an eye for allies and fellowships. This is a cause for much relief in my heart.
이
Listen
친구
to
참
him. This one knows how to jest. They're
글쎄,
basically
몸에서
best buds
친구가
now. Huh.
조금 감정이 과해졌군.
I may have lost my cool for a
아무튼,
moment there.
이전
Anyway,
말대로
this man
더
speaks
나아갔을
true.
때 습격이
It
있을
is highly
가능성이
likely
높은
that
건
we will be
사실이지.
exposed to attacks of similar nature were we to continue moving at this time. She's just fully on his side now, isn't she? That's when I realized that she was looking in my direction. The exaggerated smile had all but completely faded from her face, replaced with an odd but dead serious expression. When our gazes locked, she nodded. She must be completely turned around by that guy. This is her way of saying so long, I'm gonna quit and go work with this guy now, thanks for everything?
이 호텔도
And as for this
막사보다는 훨씬
hotel,
나은 환경으로
it is
보이니
still much better than
여기서
sleeping in
피로를
outdoor
해소한
tent
뒤
barracks.
다시 움직이는
We
게
should be able to
올바른
relieve
판단 같고.
ourselves of some fatigue here before moving on.
반대한 건
Did you not
오티스 양이지
earlier insist on
않는가?
continuing our search for a better accommodation with the greatest vehemence, Miss Otis?
뭐 됐어요.
Yeah, whatever.
다들 이해한 것
We get your point.
같으니까
Let's go
일단
inside.
들어가죠.
넓은
My humble
분량으로
self
이해해
can only
주신다
behold your
하니
generous
소인은
acceptance of this
감독할
insufficient lodging
지경이지요.
with the deepest gratitude. After all that serious talk, The man seemed oddly relieved to hear her decision as he brought his fist and palm together.
현대의 건축물은
Architecture of today
외관으로만
mustn't be
판단할 수
judged with such
없으니
haste merely by
안으로
observation of their
들어가면 또 다를 수
exterior.
있어.
The interior may hold
걱정하시기나.
aught to be surprised of. Worry not. With Rodian surrendered, wouldn't that be nice? We made our way into the building.
오, 진짠데?
Oh,
아는
this
생각보다
actually ain't so
못하네.
bad. It's clean in here.
꽤 고풍스러운 멋도
This place
있구려.
presents a rather classical
벽마다
aesthetic.
그려진 이
The landscape
산수화들이
paintings lining the walls
제법 운치 있어.
give off a rather sophisticated mood. And it's much more spacious inside than it looks from the outside. Did they use some kind of space expansion technology in here too?
아니요.
No.
단순히
It
접착된
seems that
주변
the
건물
building
탓에
only appeared
좁아
small
보였던
due
것
to the
같군요.
density of structures in proximity.
자,
Well,
문을
the door is now
열어두었습니다.
open.
편히
Should my
대화
presence
나누실
be
수 있도록
required, I shall be in
소희는
the small
옆에
shed
있는
next to this
작은
building.
집에서 머물고
Please,
있겠습니다.
do converse freely. The man smiled awkwardly and quietly excused himself as the excitement among the sinners began to grow. Meanwhile, Hong Lu stood a fair distance from the guide, quietly watching his face as he left. His expression was enigmatic, as if he were gazing upon the clouds, the flowers, or even the wind. Yet there was no light in those eyes. It was as if they beheld a storm cloud, a desolate field of wilted flowers, and a howling, destructive gale. Do you suspect something, Honglu? So I decided to ask.
아직은 없는 것 같아요.
Not yet. I don't think. Huh? Not yet?
아무리 오빠라도
So, big brother,
수상하다는 생각은
something felt
들었나 봐.
off to you too, huh? That's when we caught a familiar voice.
와, 시춘.
Ah, Jishin,
벌써 이렇게
it's you.
만났네.
And so soon, too.
말했잖아.
Yeah, I told you I had a
다시 볼
feeling
것
we'd be
같다고.
seeing each other again very soon.
평안하셨습니까?
Have you been well,
도련님?
young master?
웨이 씨도
I'm so
평안해
glad to see
보여서
that you're doing
다행이에요.
well, Mr. Wei.
그럼
Wait, don't tell
시춘도
me you're
여기서
staying here
묵는
too,
거야?
Jishin.
원래라면
I normally
이런
wouldn't ever
곳에는
set
발도
foot in a place
들이밀지
like this,
않겠지만
but
본가로
I
돌아가는
ran
길의
into some kind of
입구에
large-scale
무슨
construction
커다란
on my way
공사가
back to the
일어나서
family mansion. Had to
뒷골목을
come in
통해 올
through the back
수밖에
streets.
없었거든.
So we weren't the only ones troubled by that random construction site.
자네들!
Ooh! Ah! Fuck. Hail to thee! Gah. The confident look in Jishin's face was immediately replaced by that of alarm.
저 여자도
Does she lose
다시
her memories
기억을
again?
잃고 합류한
Is
거야?
she with you?
아니,
No.
돈키호테
Don
씨는
Quixote is the same
언제나
as always.
그대로인걸?
하지만
But
저런
she looks like
얼빠진
such an
모습은
airhead.
시춘!
Young Jishin! Wist thou company to the lounge but a moment so that we may share a moment of catching up?
아,
Oh,
그렇네.
yeah, actually, let's do that.
잠깐만.
Hold on. Jia Zhichen seemed to hesitate for a moment, staring at Don Quixote after hearing that her memories were intact. Before walking right up to her.
그렇게 할까?
I like that
나쁘지
idea.
않네.
Shall we?
왜?
Wait, why don't you go
나는
find
이자와
and
잠깐
find a room
이야기라도
for me to
나눌
stay
테니
in while I talk some
묵을 밤을 좀
things out with
골라보고
her?
있어봐.
Oh?
왜?
What?
그간
You
못난했던
wanted to do some
이야기라도
catching
하자며?
up, right? Manager Esquire!
인재 유출은
Loss of critical
커다란
personnel
귀책
may be a
사유가 될
cause
수
for
있습니다.
disciplinary action, Dante. I don't think there's anything wrong with making friends, though.
시춘이
Looks like
돈키호테
Jishin
씨가
really
마음에
likes
들었나
Don Quixote
보네요.
if she's comfortable enough
장난도
to
치고.
tease her like that.
돈키호테 씨가
It's not Don
아니라
Quixote she likes.
그때 봤던
She obviously just
돈키호테
wants Don
씨의 힘이
Quixote's
마음에
power
든
she saw
거겠죠.
back then.
아가씨,
My lady,
이러시면
this is hardly the appropriate place for it.
알았어.
Fine.
나중에
I'll try
할게.
again later.
자,
Go get some sleep.
간다고.
I'm heading in too. Jishin sighed with a bit of disappointment before heading into the lobby. Well, let's all head inside now. So I and the rest of the sinners followed her into the lodging. Suspicion. Everyone was busy looking around and commenting on various things in our lodging, but Sinclair's appeared to be the most anxious of them all. Sinclair?
이건 이상해요.
Something in here stands out. Like, imagine an ideal picture.
불렀어.
Did you call?
그 농담
Aw, I
오랜만이네.
missed that joke you sang.
부른 건 아니지만
That's not what I was...
아니 아무튼
Not...
지금
Anyway, am I
지금
the only
아무도
one who feels like
이상한
something
걸
stands out like
모르겠어요?
a sore thumb from the whole picture?
그래.
Oh,
마침 잘
yeah,
말했어.
glad you brought it up.
나도
I
나만
didn't say
이상하게
anything
느끼는
because I
건가
thought it
싶어
was just
말을 안
me.
했거든.
Rhodia.
그래서 뭐가 이상하다는 건데?
So what's so off about this place?
그야 당연히.
Isn't it obvious?
웰컴 카드가 너무
Where'd all the
적잖아.
complimentary snacks go? What's that weird mystery table at the center of this room?
어라?
Huh?
그러고 보니
That
저런 게
is
여기
kind of
있지?
weird though. What's that table doing there?
색이 밝은 것이
Its saturated
꽤
colors are
귀엽구려.
quite the pleasant sight to behold.
나는
So,
좀 어떤
is it any better inside?
아니, 뭔데요?
What the hell is that
저
hideous
흉측한
table? The kerfuffle sparked by the particularly unsightly piece of indoor furniture calmed somewhat once everyone made it inside the building. Of course, no one was able to discern the real purpose of that table yet.
걸을 때마다
Every step on the floor
신발에
leaves
검은
black
것이
residue
묻어나고
on the
있다.
shoes.
바닥만이 아니군요.
Not only the floor,
벽에도
touching the
만질
walls
때마다
leaves an
검은 무언가가 묻어나고
unidentified black substance on one's fingers.
거기에
Not to
벽이
mention
묘하게
how the walls
찬란히고 있어.
ripple in an odd fashion.
도대체 무엇으로 만든
What could possibly be
벽인지.
the construction of this structure?
뭐
Well, my guess is
어지간히
that the
관리를
maintenance
안
staff's been
하겠지.
slacking.
그렇다기엔 또 꽤
Maybe.
정갈하단
Why is
말이지.
everything so neatly organized if
내가
that's the case?
개차원인 데를 하도
I've been in enough
돌아다녀서
seedy establishments
진짜
to tell when a
사람 손이
place has
안닿는
gone a
거랑
while without
구분을
a
꽤
tidy up.
잘하거든.
그래도
At least it
방마다
appears that
침상은
each room
하나씩
is
있는
furnished
것으로
with a
보입니다,
bed.
관리자님.
While this is far from optimal,
부족하지만
Executive Manager, we may be able
휴식은
to
취할 수
rest here.
있겠군요.
Huh.
시간이
I
없긴
guess they really didn't have the
없었나
time to clean up. Jia Shishan, the last person to walk in after having taken her time to examine the area outside the lobby, stared blankly around the room with an aghast expression.
성의가 없어도
I'm not even
너무
sure what to
없어서
say to this
지긋하네.
ridiculous negligence. Then found her room after leaving a scathing remark.
아휴, 우리가 뭐 수상쩍은
It
거
ain't the
한두 번
first time
당하냐?
we're sauntering into some
이러다가
shady
한바탕
business, in it?
하자고 하면 하는 거고.
Let's just cross that bridge when we come to it, yeah? I guess.
아까 그 양반 수상한
And you could tell there was something definitely wrong about that guy. Some sinners, including Heathcliff, had already slumped to the floor, vociferously expressing their desire to rest with a collective sigh of exhaustion. Well, it is pretty weird. At least we have a roof over our heads.
그렇다면
In that case, Dante,
단테
perhaps this may be a good
휴식을
time to
선언해도
announce
좋을
today's
것
close
같네요.
of business. Huh? I've never made this announcement outside the bus before. Oh, right. I hereby confirm today's close of business for the sinners.
네, 감사합니다.
Understood. Thank you
지금부터
kindly.
변동 가능성을
Starting now,
가진
you will all be
최대
given a
12시간의
maximum of 12
수면 및
hours to
휴식을
partake in sleep
시작합니다.
and rest. The duration
좋은
is
밤
subject
되시길.
to change. Have a good night. As soon as she finished, the sinners each began to relax in their own ways, some stumbling into their rooms, while others lingered to speculate over the bizarre table at the center of the room. Save for Otis, that is. You got something to say, Otis?
예, 관리자님.
Yes, executive
아까
manager.
그 경도라는
It's
자
about our
말입니다.
guide, Xingtao. Oh, your new best friend from earlier. Seemed like you guys were getting along pretty well.
예?
What? That is simply
그런
untrue.
게 아닙니다.
Did you not see the
제가
signal I
신호도
gave
보내지
you earlier?
않았습니까?
What signal? Oh, you mean when you nodded slightly in my direction?
예.
Indeed!
그 자는
That individual has
이곳을 꺼내
informational
들어봐요.
advantage over us
이곳의
when it
지리를
comes to this
이용해서
locale.
우리를 기만하기
Regardless
쉬운
of
자였습니다.
how sound the accusations we came up with were, he would have been able to explain them away using his familiarity with the region.
차라리 기회를 봐
I
그런 식으로
thought,
친화를
as the
포장하고
party with an informational
의도대로 어울려주는 것이
disadvantage, it
정보가
would be
모자란
wise to
저희가
feign
취할 수 있는
camaraderie
가장
and friendship
안전한
with that individual and go along with their plans while trying to dig out as much intel as possible. I seriously thought that suspicious guy totally won you over. Executive manager,
제 경력이 몇
I've been in
년인데
this business for many years. How
그런
could you even
끝나는
imagine
천자에게
that I would be fooled by an amateur spy who so overtly suspicious?
아닙니다.
It's nothing. Otis's disappointment was palpable, but she stopped herself as though she remembered that there were more important matters at hand.
그자가 언제까지 저희와
While it
함께할지는
is
모르겠지만
uncertain as to how long that individual will be accompanying us, it would be reasonable to speculate that he approached the LCCB with the explicit purpose of eliminating Honglu, Jia Baoyu.
파일럿.
I present the fact that it was Pilot, that inexperienced greenhorn,
근거로서
who
채택할
somewhat
만하죠.
conveniently came across this connection as another evidence supporting the suspicion. That's also true.
파우스트 측에서도
Faust also
전달할
has
말이
information
있습니다.
to share. Faust joined the conversation after listening to us discuss for some time.
알려진 금기를 전부
A review of
확인해봤지만
every known taboo has failed to
반의
identify one
불가침이라는
called
금기를 찾을
residential
수는
non-aggression
없었습니다.
taboo that universally prohibits acts of violence within residential areas. That also has to be.
거짓으로
It
예단하긴
is too early
이릅니다.
to come to conclusions
이
regarding
홍원이라는
that
곳은
matter. It
구역에
appears
따라
that this
금기가
area,
바뀌는 경우도 있는 것
Hongyuan, has
같으니
taboos that change depending on your location within its territory.
하지만 여러 정황상
However, considering every
진실의
other
확률이
circumstantial
희박한 것도
evidence,
사실일
we can come
것입니다.
to conclusion that he most likely was lying to us.
부정하진 않겠습니다.
Your assessment cannot be denied.
그렇다면 저희는
In that case, we
이미
must
계획
already
속에
be deep
들어와
within
있을
the
것입니다.
enemy's machinations.
아마
The constant
계속되었던
stream of
습격도
random assailants we
약속된
faced
게릴라일
earlier was
가능성이
also
높고
most likely part of their plan.
지금도 함정 안에
It may
들어앉아
very
있을
well
수도
be
있을
that this
것입니다.
building itself is also a
저희
trap.
모두가
Yet we lack the
뒷골목에 대한
intelligence about
정보가
this
많진
particular
않으니.
back streets to be certain.
하지만 저쪽도
However, we
저희의
do have
전력을
one
너무
minor
허접하게
advantage.
분석했을 것입니다.
It seems that they have severely
그러니
underestimated our
그런
capabilities,
잣배들을 수배해서
given the low
습격했을
caliber
것이고
of the assailants they decided to send after us, or by the sheer number, that is them just trying to weaken us that way.
서로 정보가 부족한 상태입니다.
One thing we can capitalize on is
경계를
the
늦추지만
mutual
않으면
lack of
이
intel.
상황을 파괴할 수
Keep our
있을
guard
것입니다,
up,
관리자님.
remain alert, and we should be able to navigate our way out of this trap. Executive Manager. Okay, I get it now. I'm sorry about the misunderstanding. Honestly, I didn't know who or what to trust.
다음엔
Then I would appreciate it if you
전부
could trust me
신뢰가 될
fully
수
next
있으면
time.
좋겠군요.
Otis bowed politely and returned to her room. Faust and I chatted a little more about Xingtao and his plans, but our discussion ended without bearing much fruit. Man, okay. I realized that Hong Lu was missing as I was spending time chatting with the sinners. I didn't notice him going into his room. So I walked to the exit, about to look for Hong Lu outside, and ran into Jia Shishan and Wei, who decided to stay in the room close to the door.
밤이 꽤
It's
늦었어.
getting late. Where
호의도
are you
없이
going
어딜
alone
가려는
without a
거야?
guard? Oh, just looking for Hong Lu.
생각해보니까
Right. I can't understand what you're saying.
내가 알아들을 수가 없구나.
Oh, right. When it comes to conversing without the sinners, I find that there are two types of people. The first type usually say whatever is on their mind without pausing for or caring to hear my reply. Given that this type of person isn't actually looking to communicate with me, that simplifies things a little on my end. However, it is also oddly insulting as it seems as though they don't recognize me as a human, but rather a wall, or a clock on a wall. And the other type is the one that reads me so well that they might as well be able to hear what I'm saying. Virgilius falls into the latter category. He recognizes the pitch of my tics and talks and reads my body language, or sometimes even claims to see my expressions, like how Don Quixote does. And Jia Shishan, who saw through me with that short exchange.
그러니까
Okay,
새벽
let's see.
공기를 마시고 싶은 거야?
Just looking to get some early morning
그
air.
의체
Oh,
보기와
Does your
다르게
prosthetic
호흡기는
head
남아있는
even have a
거고?
respiratory function? Wouldn't have guessed from the way it looks. Did not belong in either category. No, not really. I'm just looking for Hong Lu because I haven't seen him in a while.
고개를 젓는 걸 보면
You're
아니라는 거네.
shaking your head, so
그럼
no.
배가
Then are you
고픈
looking
거야?
for something to eat? She's a new one. The type that tries to figure out what I'm saying without asking for help.
아가씨,
My lady,
여기 가능한 일을
wouldn't that be
데려오거나
wise to
깨우는
wake
게
or find someone who may be able to translate?
중대한 사안이었으면
They would have
이자가
done
먼저
that themselves
그랬겠지.
if it were something important. I'm
그것보다
kind of curious though.
처음 물어봤을 때
What was that
했던
hand gesture
그
you made when I
손동작은
first
뭐지?
asked? You
이렇게
brought your index fingers up
손가락을
to your cheeks.
볼쯤에 가져다 대는 동작.
Well, Hong Lu's always smiling. So I thought maybe I could simulate his smile to convey that I'm looking for him.
귀엽다나
Perhaps
예쁘다를
it was an
표현하고
effort
싶은
to
것은
express cuteness
아닐지.
or beauty? No! Why did you have to put that image into my head? Thank you. What? No! I was just trying to express a smiling face. Oh no, this isn't going to be easy, is it?
뭔가
Huh?
찌깍대는 게
They're tick-tocking a lot
격렬해졌는데.
more vigorously.
아무래도
Hey,
그건가 봐.
I think you're onto something. This conversation was starting to veer into a completely unintended territory. After a bit of trial and error...
오빠를 찾고 있는 거였구나.
Yep, we're in a 7.5 intervalo. I see. You're looking for my big brother, huh? We took some very roundabout ways, but I was eventually able to get her to understand what I was trying to say.
뭐,
Well,
이 시간에 안 자고
if
있으면
he's who you're looking
뻔하지.
for, that's easy.
뒤쪽
You should be able to
휴게실에
find him
가면
in the
있을걸?
lounge back there.
멀리는커녕
I doubt he got very
더
far
가지도
from there,
않았을 거야.
if he even left.
뭘 말하려고
So that's
그렇게
what you were trying so
용쓰나
hard to communicate. Jia Shishan was, strangely enough, disappointed and dispirited by my reply.
나도 너한테
I did have
말할 게
something to tell you
있긴
too, but
했는데.
never mind. I feel like the mood's been
됐어.
ruined.
초침 기분이야.
Let's talk about this at
다음에
another
말하자.
time. I was curious, but it would also take ages for me to ask how she's feeling. So I nodded to express my gratitude before heading to the back entrance. And found Hong Lu, gazing at the hazy scene out the opaque window. What are you doing here?
잠시 사람들을
People
보고
watching.
있었어요.
There were some people stumbling through the streets outside. As I stared outside the window at the scene, Hong Lu seemed to sense what I was thinking and began.
제가 걱정되시나요?
Are you worried for me,
단테님?
Dante? Well, yeah. It's your turn, Hong Lu.
그렇네요.
It really is. I'm
H
back at
사에
H Corp,
돌아왔고
and everyone's talking
가조
about the
선발
family
이야기가
hierarchy
잦아지는 걸
selection.
보면요. 하지만
But
저를 신경 쓸
you don't have to
필요는
worry about
없어요.
me at all,
저는
because I did not
Limbus
wish for
컴퍼니에
anything from Limbus Company.
아무것도 소망하지 않았거든요.
Really?
이상 씨처럼
I'm not like you
본심을
saying.
숨기고
I'm
말하는
not
게
hiding my
아니에요.
true feelings.
날개를 되찾아
No one gave me a
주겠다던가
wonderful
하는
promise like they
그런
would help
멋진
me
약속을
recover my torn and
저는
broken
듣지
wings.
못했거든요. 그저 새로운 경험이
I
될 거라
joined only to have
생각해서
some new experience.
왔을 뿐이에요.
That's all. But we do know that something's definitely going to happen, whatever it might be. Something that will shake you to your very core. Even if you didn't wish for anything, going through something like that could.
아마도
Probably
그렇겠죠.
yes, but it's okay.
하지만
I'm used to being
그래도
led by the will of
괜찮답니다.
others anyway.
누군가의 뜻에 따라 움직이는 건 무슨 일이 일어나도
No matter what happens here,
저는
I
아마
can't
다른
do this like
분들처럼 하진
everyone
못할
else.
거예요. 원래 그랬거든요.
Because that's how it's always been.
제게 뭔가
Whatever
일어나든
happens to me or to those
주변에서
around me,
일어나든
I only. A loud, boisterous bellow suddenly cut Hong Lu off even before he could finish his sentence. Oi! Let go of me! Just listen to that side talking and tell me I'm not supposed to get mad at that. Dang it, lower your voice. What are you guys doing back there? Gregor and Heathcliff, who were most likely hiding behind the entrance door, tumbled into view. I knew I shouldn't have come here with this guy. Couldn't you be patient for even a few minutes before bursting out of here? How long have you two been listening? From the very start. Of course, I thought he was finally making some sense at first, but what's that? That you're used to following others' will?
아, 히스클리프
I
씨의
didn't mean to
심기를
irk
거스를
you,
생각은
Heathcliff. I'm only
없었답니다.
telling the truth.
사실을
Bloody hell! I'm about to burst a vessel. Oi, Buggy Blow. Am I supposed to practice patience after listening to that drivel?
벌레 아저씨라는
I think
호칭
I'm
내가
practicing
인내하는
plenty of
만큼은
patience despite you calling me
좀
buggy
청해하지
bloke
않을까?
out of nowhere. So yeah, you are.
아니,
that's not what I.
그게 그런 뜻이 아니고.
Aw. Finally, some
이제 좀
silence.
조용해졌네.
Anyways, sorry about listening
아무튼,
in, fellas. I'll let you in some big secret if you let this one
대신
slide, though.
좋은 거 하나 알려줄 테니.
Well, what's the secret? Gregor rubbed his arm awkwardly as I stared at him in silence, then pointed at a pillar in an exaggerated motion.
관리자 양반.
Guess who's hiding behind that
저쪽
pillar,
기둥
Manager Bud?
누가 숨어 있는지 알아?
With that, two familiar figures stumbled out into view from behind the pillar. How could you betray us like that, Gregor? BWHA. What?
재미없는 대화라
Bad,
안
weak,
그래도
and highly
들어가보려고 하셨대요.
annoying. Good night snooze fests, she says. Huh? Huh? Did I get that wrong?
이게 아니.
I never said GNS. What did you get at FU?
된 건가?
Ryoshi looked at Sinclair with some interest before slicing open the ceiling above the entrance. And, with an uncharacteristically wet noise for something cutting through a wall, a black ink-like substance dripped onto the floor, followed by Rhodia and Otis crashing down after it. Get the fuck out. Wow.
제 이야기를
Didn't
들고
realize I
오신
had
분이
garnered such an
생각보다
audience for my
많았군요.
story. Executive Manager,
관리자님,
the sole reason I followed you
저는
out
단지
here was for
방에서
the purpose
나가시는
of
모습이
protection.
우려되어 호의하고자 따라 나왔을
As I
뿐
was concerned for your
사사로운
safety.
욕심으로
I'm
엿드는
not like the others who
전투들과는
have followed you
다릅니다.
merely to sate their curiosities. Me? I was just
나는
bored.
그냥 심심해서.
그럼 마저
Then,
대화할까요?
shall we continue the conversation, Dante? Everyone, back to your rooms now! And I think with that, I'm probably going to end it a little early today. Yeah, we'll end it here. Monday, we'll be getting through the rest of this intervallo. If we end early, depending on when we end on Monday, I will go a little longer and start Canto 8. But most likely, we'll probably just try to finish this intervallo and have an early night. So, thank you everyone so much for joining. As always, it was a lot of fun, and I will see you Monday. Toodles!